Selected to receive. The Detroit Lions will kick off and defend the goal to our right. Eddie Murray is all set to kick off for Detroit. Back to receive deep for the Chargers. Number 21, Buford McGee. Number 26, Lionel Little Train James. The official in the middle with the black cap is Jim Tunney. Some 60,000 fans are expected here at San Diego Stadium as it has been expanded. We hope you fans will enjoy the game this afternoon as much as we're going to enjoy bringing it to you. It should be a good one. The Lions and the Chargers, and our ball game is underway. Lionel James inside the goal line. There is a flag on the play as Lionel James gets up across the 25-yard line. Tackle there made by William Frizzell. William Frizzell in on the tackle. The ball just across the 25-yard line. There's the indication from referee Jim Tunney.
And one of the main questions here, Jim, is can Detroit mount that pass rush that we just mentioned to disrupt that San Diego pass game?
During the run back, number 50, 10 yards, first down.
First and 10 for the Chargers. So let's take a look at the starting offensive unit for San Diego. And they have an explosive unit. Fouts, Jackson, Winslow, Holohan, Joyner, West Chandler. There's a look at the offensive line, and it's big and strong. That's West Chandler in motion. And Fouts is back to pass already. Complete to Charlie Joyner. Charlie Joyner gets up to about the 27-yard line. Tackle there made by Bobby Watkins.
And they don't waste any time. Dan Fouts is the fastest gun in the West. He comes out slinging the ball, and what a gunslinger he is. This is the #1 offense in the game. A little switch on defense for Detroit also, Jim.
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a couple of minutes as William Gay goes from the left defensive end to the right defensive end. Monty Clark, I don't think, is very happy with his play on the left side. He's back over on the right side with Doug English. First and 10 for San Diego. And the toss back to Earnest Jackson. Earnest Jackson pulling his way, picking up 7 or 8 yards. Tackle there made by Mike Kofer and Curtis Green. All right, the defensive lineups now for the Detroit Lions, the visitors this afternoon. They have the 4-3 alignment. There's a look at the defensive line. Michael Kofer, Curtis Green, Doug English, and as we mentioned, William Gay goes from the left defensive end back to the right defensive end. The linebackers, Gary Cobb, Ken Fantetti back in the starting lineup, and Jimmy Williams, number 59. There's the secondary, Watkins, McNorton, Johnson, and Alvin Hall. Fouts bobbles the snap from center, fumble. And it looks like the Lions have recovered number 59, Jimmy Williams.
And we mentioned earlier that the Detroit defense was not coming up with a big play. They did it last year. Here, Williams comes up with the fumble by Fouts. Fouts just looked like he never got the snap from center, tried to pick it up and kicked it away. Detroit gets a big break early. This is the kind of momentum-producing play that they need. Take a look at it again. See the ball, he pulls out, he never had control of it, tries to pick it up. Instead of just jumping on it and recovering it, he can't, he kicks it away, and there it is, a recovery. Jimmy Williams for Detroit.
First and 10 for Detroit at the Charger 43-yard line. Billy Sims, the lone setback in for Detroit. James in motion, and the handoff to Sims. Billy Sims up the middle. Tackle made by Lyndon King, number 57. All right, we'll take a look at the Detroit offensive lineup as they are on the move here early in the first period. Gary Danielson, the quarterback. Billy Sims, who just carried the ball. James Jones, Leonard Thompson, their leading receiver, and Mark Nichols. The offensive line, David Lewis, Chris Dietrich, Homer Elias, Steve Mott, Don Greco, and Keith Dorney. So the Lions with a golden opportunity to get on the scoreboard early in the first period. First and 10 for Detroit at the Charger 32-yard line. And off to Sims again. Phil Elko.
Interesting matchup here because the San Diego defense is not exactly a big-name defense with a lot of stars. Rather, it's a workmanlike defense that's very good against the rush. They rank 3rd in the league, allowing just 91 yards to the opponent, and there you see why. Good penetration, a hit on Billy Sims.
2nd and 11 for Detroit at the Charger 33-yard line. Sims is joined in the backfield now by James Jones. Nichols in motion. Toss back, or rather handoff to Billy Sims. First contact made again by Bill Elko. Look at the Charger defense, and it will be of suspect this afternoon. Chuck Ian, Bill Elko, who's made a couple of tackles, and Keith Ferguson. The linebackers, Lyndon King, Mike Green, Billy Ray Smith, and Woodrow Lowe. The secondary, Gil Bird, Danny Walters, Ken Green, and Bob Greger, who's filling in for the injured Miles McPherson. The Lions are in the shotgun formation. 3rd and 9 from the Charger 31. Fred Robinson and Lyndon King. And the Chargers, who had a pretty good defensive effort on Monday night against the Los Angeles Raiders, meet the task here and defy and deny the Detroit Lions of at least getting into field goal range.
And Detroit missed a golden opportunity. They recovered that fumble. They couldn't put any points on the board, and that has to hurt for a team that's trying to find themselves, Jim, trying to get confidence.
Kind of surprised that the Lions didn't pass, at least on first down, after getting that big break.
Very surprised, especially since Danielson's playing so well.
4th and 19, Mike Black is in to kick for the Lions. Lionel James is back to receive deep for San Diego. Good high punt. Hits in the end zone for touchback and will come out to the 20-yard line. So the San Diego Chargers will take over 1st and 10 at their own 20. No score early in our ball game. The Chargers have dodged the bullet, mostly because of their defensive play.
And fine defensive play. They're not noted for a pressure defense, not a sack team.
We welcome those of you who have been watching the Dallas Cowboys as they defeat the Chicago Bears 23-14. Here early in the first quarter, there is no score between the San Diego Chargers and the Detroit Lions. I'm Jim Hill along with John Dockery. And Dan Fouts is back to pass on 1st and 10. Complete to Charlie Joyner. Tackle made by Bruce McNorton.
And that is sheer poetry. Dan Fouts with the ability to get the ball off faster than any other quarterback in the game. Great timing. That time he delivered the ball before the cut was made. Take a look at it right here. Watch him. He's going back. Cut's being made. Delivers it right. Yes. In front of the defender. Charlie Joyner makes the reception. How about Charlie Joyner? 16 years as a wide receiver in the NFL. And what a career.
Oh, he's just as good today as he was 5 or 6 years ago. 1st and 10 for San Diego. Hand off to Earnest Jackson. Jackson picks up a couple of yards before he's tackled by Doug English and Eric Williams. Eric Williams going back to the left defensive tackle there as the Lions, as Monty Clark was talking about yesterday, they've moved William Gay back over to the right defensive end where he will be combined there with Doug English.
And they have to be responsible for Earnest Jackson running so well for the Chargers on the ground, filling the void for Chuck Muncie, who's gone, and also Pete Johnson. He's their only real threat on the ground.
2nd and about 7.5 for San Diego. Fouts to pass. Down the middle, should be intercepted. Oh! Almost intercepted there by Alvin Hall. There is a flag on the play. You saw the penalty there, signaled by referee Jim Tunney.
One of the things the Detroit defense is trying to do more than they've done in the past is to be a little more aggressive, a little less conservative, play more man-to-man. And against
contact, number 53, 5 yards, 1st down.
And that's the kind of thing Gary Cobb, number 53, was trying to do. He was trying to be a little tighter, a little more aggressive on defense, make things happen. The Detroit Lion defense hasn't been doing that. They must do it against a high-powered passing attack like the Chargers.
You saw me, you heard me say it should be intercepted. I'm telling you, Alvin Hall was standing right there. It was a gift. He just didn't get a good break on the ball. 1st and 10 for San Diego. The Lion 44. Fouts back to pass. A super catch by Eric Sievers. Alvin Hall in defending.
Not only a super catch by Sievers, but also a great throw. Take a look at Sievers in the slot. They talk about the other guys as having the hands. Sievers says, I'm not a great pass receiver, don't have great hands. But watch this. He's falling down. He's shadowed by Fantetti. Still makes the grab. Sievers must be hanging around with Kellen Winslow and Wes Chandler. What a great catch and a terrific throw by Fouts.
Fouts is 3 of 3 right now for 61 yards early in the first period. 1st and 10 for San Diego. Fouts back to pass again. This is no surprise. Going into the end zone for Joyner. And it is incomplete. Number 27, Bobby Watkins defending.
They were double teaming Joyner that time. Watkins on the outside, waiting for Joyner to come back off his post fake. He was right there. Fouts did not read it. Ball could have been intercepted.
Charlie Joyner right now needs 46 passes to become the all-time leading receiver in the National Football League, to pass Charlie Taylor, who has 649. He didn't catch a ball at all against the Raiders on Monday night, and I saw him after the game on Monday. He said, hey, I'll give you something to talk about on Sunday, and he already has with 1 big reception.
I asked him what the secret of his longevity was. He said, you know what? Staying injury-free.
2nd and 10 from the Lion 23-yard line. Pitch back to Earnest Jackson. Ken Fantetti comes over to make the tackle. And the Lions really need the outstanding linebacking work of Fantetti. Monty Clark was telling us yesterday that he didn't practice all week long. He had a screw in his shoulder, had that shoulder operation. He had the screw taken out, and they just really need him back in there because of his great leadership ability as well as his playing athletic ability.
Not only that, the 4-3 defense, the way the Detroit Lions play it, is designed to take on the up front men and free the linebackers to make the tackles. The Detroit linebackers have not been doing that.
5 defensive backs in now for the Lions. Bobby Duckworth checks in for San Diego. Here's Dan Fouts again. Complete to Joyner. Joyner tackled by Al Latimer.
And Joyner told us, I said, what's your favorite pattern? He said, like Isaac Curtis did last week, anything to the sidelines. Obviously, when you get older and you're 37 years old like Joyner, you don't want to take the big hits from the defensive backs. If you run it to the sidelines, you avoid that. But this throw is just perfect. Good protection. Look at the ball. It never goes more than 7-8 feet off the ground on the line. First down.
Charlie Joyner making his presence felt early in the ballgame. 7:51 left in the first period. Chargers are threatened. 1st and goal from the 9. Here's Earnest Jackson. Doug English in on the tackle for Detroit.
Bobby Watkins, the cornerback, number 27, played that well. He came up, made the contain, forced the play back inside. He was the one that really helped to make the play and keep it to a short gain. As you look at New England beating the Jets 28-21, that final.
One other final score already in. It is Miami with Dan Marino over St. Louis, 36-28.
Can anybody shut down Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins? Wow, he's awesome.
And so is this man, Dan Fouts, averaging passing for 296 yards a game so far. 7:10 left in the first period. Toss back to Jackson. And Earnest Jackson is tackled by Demetrius Johnson, who's filling in for the injured William Graham.
And people may be wondering, who is Earnest Jackson in his 2nd year out of Texas A&M? I mean, when you thought about the Chargers up until this year, you thought about James Brooks, you thought about Chuck Muncie, Pete Johnson came, but now they're all gone. I said to Jackson, what did it feel like when you finally found out? He said, you know, it was a nightmare when I woke up and realized I was the only running back, and I was the man that everything depended upon.
Don Coryell wants him to continue to have that bad dream as long as he's going to perform like this. 3rd and goal from the 5. Fouts to pass. Into the end zone. Intended for Wes Chandler. Over his head, incomplete. Covered there by Alvin Hall, but there is a flag on the play. So Dan Fouts, who owns just about every passing record against for the Chargers, as a signal by Jim Tunney, holding against Detroit. Doug English said last night, Said Fouts wakes up early every morning throwing. And it's evident this afternoon already.
Holding 53. Half the distance of the goal line. First down.
Call on Gary Cobb.
That's a second call on Gary Cobb.
Checking into the backfield for the Chargers, Buford McGee, but he goes to Jackson. Earnest Jackson fighting his way down to the goal line. Tackle there made by Ken Fantetti.
Now, Earnest Jackson isn't a large back. He's only 5'9", 206, as you see him getting up slowly there. And boy, they could ill afford to lose this man as he's limping back to the huddle. But he's the kind of back you want near the goal line because he's a north and south runner. He sees that crevice and he flies into the end zone. If he goes down, Jim, what are they going to do?
Gerald Thomas. That's the answer for the Chargers right now. The former Los Angeles Ram has checked in to replace Jackson. You see Jackson limping. It looks like it has something to do with his right leg. He's really ashamed because he has performed so well here early in the year, especially during the preseason. 155 yards rushing against the Raiders on Monday night. So far this afternoon, 5 carries for 18 yards.
And Earnest Jackson has gotten better week in and week out. In the second week of the season against Seattle, he had 89 yards versus Houston, 97. And last week against the Raiders, a sterling, sparkling performance. As you mentioned, 155 yards on 29 carries, 1 touchdown. Here he's leaving the field.
So Gerald Thomas, 5'10", 230, checks in for Jackson. Second and goal from the Lion 2. Winslow in motion. Buford McGee. McGee down close to the 1-yard line.
Again, Buford McGee, not that overpowering large back that you'd like to have down here. I'm sure they wouldn't mind having Pete Johnson back. McGee only 6 feet, about 206. Tough to get into the end zone unless your line gives you that big surge up there. I wouldn't be surprised to see Fouts throw the ball, even though it's third and about only 1.5, Jim.
Ken Fantetti in again on the tackle for Detroit. Third and goal from the 1-yard line. 5:25 left in the first period. The toss back to Thomas. Touchdown, San Diego. Joel Thomas goes in from 1 yard out, practically untouched. Great blocking from his offensive line, and the Chargers jump out on top by 6.
Take a look at it again. It's a quick pitch. Yes, his offensive line gets out in front of him. They just seal down the Raiders. Look at that good block in the end zone. Number 27 was coming over, Bobby Watkins, to try to stop him, but he couldn't. Great block. Touchdown. Chargers on top.
Ralph Bernerski in to attempt the extra point conversion. Right down the middle, good.
You know, Jim, most people think of Kellen Winslow as a deluxe pass receiver. They don't also know that he's a fine blocker and a complete tight end. Take a look at him right here, number 80, in motion. Gives him a little bit extra momentum. There he is on the outside, blocking Alvin Hall. Allows Thomas to take it in for the touchdown. So the Chargers take the lead here in the first quarter.
Last year, car makers spent a record $1 billion in advertising just to tell you how wonderful their cars are. Fortunately, there's a more objective opinion, car owners. According to a recent survey of all the cars in America, import or domestic, car owners rated Subaru second.
From Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, California, I'm Jim Hill along with John Dockery. And after a 1-yard touchdown run by Joel Thomas, the Chargers lead the Detroit Lions 7-0. Ralph Bernerski all set to kick off for San Diego. Kenneth Jenkins back to receive deep, along with Pete Manley. Pete Manley. And there is a flag on the play. Manley gets up across the 25 to about the 27-yard line, but there is a flag on the play. Tackle made by Jesse Bendros. Return of 22 yards.
It's against the Lions, but they like Pete Manley, the rookie, #2 draft choice out of Northern Arizona. Great speed, Jim. Runs a 10.67 meters. That's flying.
So the Lions will be penalized and put in the hole.
Illegal push in the back. Number 54, half the distance to the goal line. First down.
Roosevelt Barnes. So with 5 minutes left to go here in the first quarter from Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, California, the Chargers lead Detroit.
Welcome.
They said he couldn't retrieve his own shadow, but you didn't give up on him.
So the Detroit Lions, who trail the San Diego Chargers 7-0, have another problem to overcome. It's 1st and 10 for Detroit at their own 10-yard line after a penalty on the ensuing kickoff after the 1-yard touchdown run by Gerald Thomas. Gary Danielson at quarterback for Detroit has not thrown an interception so far this year, but has not thrown a pass so far today. That's Billy Sims in motion. Handoff to Jones. James Jones, tackled by Bill Elko.
The strategy becomes evident early. The Detroit Lions want to keep the ball on the ground, ball control with Jones, but more so with Billy Sims. Danielson said, I'd like to get Billy Sims the ball maybe 25, 30 times and keep it away from the San Diego Chargers. But my feeling is they have to open it up a little bit. Danielson is having a terrific year. Monty Clark knows that. He's a 63% passer. So why not open it up, throw those high percentage passes?
2nd and 5 from the 14. Here's Danielson back to pass. Complete to Sims. Billy Sims dives across the 20-yard line where he's tackled there by Lyndon King, and it looks like it is enough yardage for the first down. You know, they talk about the Detroit Lions and, you know, wanting them to establish a running game, of course, with Billy Sims and James Jones. But, you know, you look at the Lions and they have people like Leonard Thompson, Mark Nichols, Robbie Martin. You know, and those people, they have the kind of offense that can be explosive through the air. So you would expect them to have a wide open kind of offense also. 1st and 10 from the 21 for Detroit. Handoff to Jones. Woodrow Lowe and Bob Greger in on the tackle. Woody Lowe, number 51, who does not get a great deal of publicity, but I tell you what, he is one fine linebacker, and he's always in on the tackle, and he grades higher out than any other defensive player.
He is number 51. Take a look at him here, the 9th-year player out of Alabama. Really the heart of the defense, one of those active, smaller type linebackers, only 6 feet, about 219, more like a strong safety than a linebacker.
Pickup of 2 yards. It'll be 2nd and 8 from the 23. That's Jones in motion, and Danielson's back to pass. It's complete to Jones. Jones is dropped for a loss once again. Woody Lowe in on the tackle, along with Danny Walters, a 2nd-year man from Arkansas.
And talking to Walters and Bird, they said they expected those kinds of plays from Detroit. They expected the screens, the draws, the trick plays.
Scores in the National Football League. Here's a final. Indianapolis defeating Buffalo 31-17. Kansas City defeating Cleveland 10-6. Another final score. Seattle over Minnesota 20-12.
Of course, Minnesota beat Detroit by 1 point. A heartbreak loss for the Lions last week.
2:21 left. 3 wide receivers in for Detroit. Danielson all set to pass. Here's the pressure. Keith Ferguson and Lyndon King.
2 sacks so far this afternoon for a team that only had 10 coming in. They're already on that kind of a roll, and they get good pressure. They haven't gotten it before, but this time Ferguson, take a look at him. Ferguson, number 76, and Lyndon King. Danielson down for the 2nd time trying to pass, but yet he's held the ball. He didn't throw an interception, hasn't thrown one in 122 attempts coming into today.
Michael Black, in to punt for Detroit. Lionel James back to receive for San Diego. Good high kick. At the 40-yard line. Lionel James. He's met by Gary Cobb. So when we come back, the San Diego Chargers, who lead 7-0, will take over 1st and 10 from the Detroit Lion 49-yard line.
Last year, car makers spent a record...
Don Coryell, head coach of the San Diego Chargers, who told us yesterday his club just had to forget totally about that emotional, draining loss to the Raiders on Monday night and get ready to play this afternoon. And so far they have. 1st and 10 is Wes Chandler in motion, and Fouts is back to pass. All the time in the world, complete to Charlie Joyner again.
You know, I asked Fouts yesterday, what do you do better than other quarterbacks? As you Bobby Watkins there. And he said, you know, I read defenses better than any other. That time he looked one way, it was covered. He came back for the completion.
Well, Dan Fouts does more things better than I think any other quarterback in the National Football League. He does not like a lot of praise. He doesn't care what people say about him or what they call him.
That's what he said to you yesterday. Yeah. I don't care what you say about me or what you call me. I know I can do it.
2nd and 2. Toss back to McGee. Buford McGee tackled there by Gary Cobb. Also in on the tackle is number 29, Bruce McNorton.
Of course, Buford McGee in there for Earnest Jackson, who is out with a bruised instep that we hear. Earnest Jackson, of course, the ground game for the San Diego Chargers. They expect him back, though.
Gerald Thomas, who scored on a 1-yard touchdown run, and Pete Holohan check in for San Diego. Joyner and Wes Chandler check out, and there's Jackson on the sidelines. And the Chargers certainly hope that he can get back in. Handoff up the middle to Buford McGee. Tackle made by number 78, Doug English, and Curtis Green.
Also, number 57, Ken Fantetti, is back in there, and they need him desperately. What the Lion defense needs to shut down this high-powered Charger offense is a little energy, a little excitement. You remember what Monty told us. He said, men, I want you to rise to the challenge. America was built that way. I want you to do it against the Chargers.
So with that play, it is the end of the 1st period. So from Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, California, after 15 minutes, the Chargers lead the Lions.
First quarter, ladies and gentlemen,
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Miller High Life. Welcome to Miller Time. Subaru, inexpensive and built to stay that way. And by Honda Motorcycles, inventors of the ATC three-wheelers. Honda, follow the leader.
On an absolutely gorgeous Sunday afternoon in San Diego, California, the San Diego Chargers lead the Detroit Lions 7-0. As we begin the 2nd period, there's a look at the total offense for the 1st period. Detroit minus 11 yards, San Diego 82. Dan Fouts back to pass for the Chargers. Complete to Holohan. Pete Holohan tackled by Demetrius Johnson. Ken Fantetti also in on the tackle, and the Chargers have such an awesome passing attack. They can throw to any one of 5, 6, maybe even 7 receivers.
And Pete Holohan, the 4th-year pro out of Notre Dame, is the man with the best hands on this team. A compliment from his teammates. There you see him catch it in his hands. And they say he may have the best hands in the entire league, and that comes from Kellen Winslow, who many feel he has pretty good hands himself.
He knows a little bit about catching the ball right. 1st and 10 from the 15. Hand off to McGee. Buford McGee, tackled by Alvin Hall.
Buford McGee must think he's Earnest Jackson or Chuck Muncie. Boy, he flies through the hole, gets some good blocking, but the rookie out of Mississippi, who they're very high on, bursts through the middle. He's one of those small backs, low to the ground, 6 feet, 200 pounds, spinning, turning, gets the 1st down. Picking up the slack for Earnest Jackson, who's injured.
Toss back again. Here's Joel Thomas. Thomas, who has already scored once today, gets close down to the goal line before he's tackled by William Gay. William Gay, who has been shifted from the left defensive end to the right defensive end today, comes up with a big tackle.
Take a look at it right here. It's the pitch they scored on before. Same way. He gets some lead back blocking from McGee, but he can't get it into the end zone. Very close.
2nd and goal from the 1-yard line. The Chargers already lead by 7, looking for more. There's McGee. Fouts apparently thought that McGee had crossed the plane of the goal line, but the officials say no. Tackle made by Steve Doig and Bobby Watkins.
A little bit reminiscent of last week for the Detroit Lions when they put on some good goal line stands and forced Jan Stenerud from the Minnesota Vikings to kick 5 field goals. Here, they're playing tough, but it's 3rd and inches for the Detroit Lions. They got a hold.
Buford, McGee, and Gerald Thomas in the backfield for San Diego. It's McGee. The Lions again refuse to let him in. Bobby Watkins and Steve Doig in on the tackle.
What does Don Coryell do in this situation? You know the man likes to score touchdowns. He's not exactly enamored with kicking field goals. He's got a decision to make. I think he thinks enough of his offense that he just might try it.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yes.
He already has a 7-0 lead, down knocking on the goal line.
You wouldn't call him a conservative coach, would
Oh, no,
you?
not by any means. He's a fine gentleman, too. Here it is, 4th and goal. A toss back to Thomas. Gerald Thomas gets his 2nd 1-yard touchdown run of the afternoon, filling in for the injured Earnest Jackson.
It was the cut that made the touchdown possible there. The Detroit Lions had it well contained, but Thomas made that quick cut up the middle as an experienced back will, so he takes it in for the touchdown.
Gerald Thomas, who went from the Los Angeles Rams to the Kansas City Chiefs, bounced around, came to San Diego, and has found a home. Ralph Bernerska in to attempt the extra point conversion. And it's good.
The Chargers go for it on 4th and 1. The gamble pays off as Thomas, with a good cut, takes it in. Take a look at it again. All right, there's Winslow in motion. He led on the last touchdown. He's out front. The pitch. Now watch the cutback right there with Winslow pushing it back. Fantetti coming back from that injured shoulder. Can't make the stop, so they take it in. And the Chargers lead 14-0 here in the 2nd quarter at Jack Murphy Stadium.
Oh, no, I dropped it. It's broken. Can't somebody make a flag?
So the Chargers go 49 yards, 9 plays, take up 5 minutes, 44 seconds on the clock. Gerald Thomas gets his 2nd touchdown run of the day from 1 yard out. And Ralph Bernerska set to kick off for San Diego. Ken Jenkins and Pete Manley back to receive deep. And it is Ken Jenkins inside the goal line. Ken Jenkins works his way up to the 30-yard line before he's tackled by Jesse Bindros.
And what this Lion team needs now is someone to pick them up. That man can be Gary Danielson, has to be Gary Danielson. And when we talked to him yesterday, he was so relaxed, so comfortable, so confident. He just said, you know, before the game, I don't worry at all. I feel the offense is playing well and we can move the ball. You mentioned their big weapons before, Jim.
Tell you what, he can't be too comfortable right now. He's got to be a little worried. He's down by 2 touchdowns, and if they aren't careful with the way San Diego can put points on the board, they better get moving, and they could get blown out real early. So when we come back, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Detroit Lions at their own 30-yard line. The wave in the stands matches the wave on the field by the San Diego fans and their players as they lead the Detroit Lions 14-0. Yards and passing, San Diego 103, only 5 for Detroit. Remember we talked to Monty Clark yesterday. He was talking about if you get into a desperate situation, you do some silly things that you really shouldn't do. They're almost in that spot right now. 1st and 10 from their own 30-yard line. Billy sends a lone set back. James Jones in motion. Play action pass. into and out of the hands of Leonard Thompson.
Gary Danielson waited on that. The ball was perfectly thrown. Leonard Thompson cleared one lane of linebackers. Danielson threw it into the second lane. Take a look at it here. Thompson over the middle. They're playing man-to-man. See that hole? He throws it right in there. Leonard Thompson can't hold on to it. It's not Danielson's fault.
Can't throw it any better than that. 2nd and 10 for Detroit at their own 30-yard line. Billy Sims, a lone setback in for the Lions. Gary Danielson quarterbacking. Jones in motion. Here's Danielson again. Complete to Mark Nichols.
He said it was out of bounds. It was very close. Mark Nichols can't believe it. I don't blame him. It was very, very close on that down and out. One of the problems Danielson has, he doesn't have a great, powerful arm like some of the quarterbacks in the league, like the Montanas and the Bartkowskis. Watch him right here. The ball takes a little long to get there. Nichols has to wait for it after his cut. And let's take a look if indeed he is out of bounds. Whew. Very close call. Looked good to me.
Jeff Chadwick checks in as a wide receiver for Detroit. Now they have 3 wide receivers in. Danielson in shotgun formation. It's complete to Nichols. Tackled by Bob Greger. So Mark Nichols comes up with a big reception to get the Lions out of trouble and pick up enough yardage for the first down. Bob Greger and Carlos Bradley in on the tackle.
He got good pass protection this time. There was an end tackle game, but his offensive line picked it up very well. See the end tackle game there, the rush from the outside? Here he just delays, Mark Nichols does, comes over the middle, finds the area in the zone and picks up the first down.
1st and 10. Play action pass again. Complete to Jones out of the backfield. Jones first met by Woodrow Lowe. You know, I'm sitting thinking right now, we know the situation that the Chargers are in from a defensive standpoint. They cannot bring in 5 defensive backs or 6 defensive backs like they would like to. And it maybe would serve to the Lions' advantage if they would use 3 wide receivers a little bit more.
No doubt about it. I mean, talking to Bash yesterday, their defensive coordinator, he said, we got problems. I mean, Miles McPherson was hurt last week. He was their free safety. He's being replaced. Tim Fox is just back off injured reserve, so they got problems in the secondary.
2nd and 2 from the Charger 44. Hand off to Jones. Jones picks up about 2.5, maybe 3 yards. And it looks like he's right at the first down marker. Tackle made by Lyndon King and Mike Green.
And you get a sense now that the Detroit Lion offense is loosening up a little bit. They realize they're down 14-0. They got to get the ball moving. They got to throw it. They got to run it a little bit. Jones is being used more. Obviously, they're using Billy Sims as a decoy. Bill Nelson, there he is, right in front of Monty Clark. He is the new offensive coordinator. But Danielson and company said, you know, as a measure for this first down, it is very close. First down, it really hasn't changed that much. The Detroit Lion offense, it's still the same kind of ball control, passing offense with a good running game.
So it will be 1st and 10 for Detroit. Scores in the 2nd quarter. The Rams leading the Giants 7-6. Green Bay over Tampa Bay 7 also in the 2nd quarter. Here's the Chargers leading Detroit 14-0. Danielson back to pass. Here's the blitz. Lyndon King.
There are times, Jim, that there just aren't enough offensive people to pick up the defensive people. That time, Ken Green, number 28, watch him from the outside, comes as well as Lyndon King. Detroit just runs out of bodies to block him. There's Lyndon King, but look on the outside. You see, that's Green. He occupies a man right there, number 44, Dave Dillio. So that allows King to make the tackle.
But as we both know, one of the ways that you stop teams from blitzing like that, that's the 3rd sack of the afternoon for San Diego, is that you run draw plays, you run screen plays, you run play action to hold those linebackers. 2nd and 18. Handoff up the middle. This time it's Billy Sims. Billy Sims, met by Billy Ray Smith, Lyndon King, Gil Byrd.
And did Billy Ray Smith read and fill the hole, caught Sims from the outside? They were just trying to pop Sims on a long, second and long situation. They figured, well, maybe we can get Billy Sims into the secondary really quickly and let him do the rest himself. But Billy Ray Smith, #1 draft choice last year out of Arkansas, filled the hole, did the job.
So it'll be 3rd and 17 for Detroit at the Charger 48-yard line. The Lions in shotgun formation of 3 wide receivers. It's Mark Nichols in motion going back the other way. Good protection this time. Complete to Sims. But he's tackled by Cliff Thrift. Was not enough yards for the first down, so Sims and company will have to go to the sidelines as Mike Black comes in to punt for Detroit. Kind of frustrating for Billy Sims because he likes playing on the West Coast. He likes playing on a natural surface. But the San Diego Chargers have more than met the challenge so far this afternoon. Lionel James back to receive at about his own 10-yard line for San Diego. Black angling out on the far sideline. And the ball goes out of bounds as it is being marked at the 13-yard line for the San Diego Chargers. And that's where they will take over 1st and 10. So Dan Fouts, who already has led his club to 2 touchdowns, comes back on the field. And the Chargers lead with 8:25 left to go in the first half. It will be 1st and 10 for the Chargers at their own 13-yard line. 8 minutes, 25 seconds left to go in the first half. The Chargers have a 14-0 lead. Dan Fouts, the quarterback for San Diego. And he's back to pass. Out in the flat to Buford McGee. McGee met there first by Ken Fantetti.
How do you stop the San Diego Charger offense? You don't. There is another example of it. Receivers downfield covered. Fouts waits. He waits, and then he just flips it off to his outlet man, and he almost gets a first down.
And another way you stop the Chargers on offense is with your own offense.
Exactly. Keep the ball away from them because they get frustrated. Fouts just loves that momentum offense. Keep things moving.
2nd and 2. Hand off to McGee. McGee is close to the first down, picking up a couple of yards. Gary Cobb in on the tackle for Detroit. Bobby Duckworth checks in for San Diego at a wide receiver position. And Eric Severs comes out. That's the one thing about the Chargers. You know, they have, 5 or 6 receivers, and all of them are potential starters on most of the ball clubs.
They sure do. When you look at Duckworth, Chandler, Bendros, Joyner, Hallahan, Winslow, they got some set of wide receivers. And tight ends.
Yes.
And they move them around. They all interchange.
About 7 of 8 for 112 yards. And off to Buford McGee again. Good tackle by Alvin Hall. So it's kind of surprising that the Chargers are running as much as they are. I'm sure it's surprising a lot of people. Of course, Fouts came out at their opening series and started to throw the ball, but they're kind of calming down and running a little bit more. Second quarter scores. New Orleans over Houston 14-0.
Richard Todd doing the job.
Denver leading the Raiders 3-0 in the second quarter, but we know how the Raiders always come back. Atlanta over San Francisco 3-0. Washington over Philadelphia 7-0. 6:30 left to go in the first half. 2nd and 8 for San Diego. Fouts back to pass. There's Winslow. Kellen Winslow, who had contractual problems with the Chargers earlier this year. But when you talk to him and ask him, are you the best tight end in all of professional football? He says, let the stats prove it. Yeah.
I love what he said to you. He said, I can't say it, but the numbers speak for themselves. And if you want to say it, you can.
Yeah, I said, well, the numbers are there. He said, well, then you say it. I won't.
The man does not suffer from modesty.
He's a great tight end.
He's also very honest and straightforward in his analysis of what's going on.
And you have to appreciate a man for that. 1st and 10. Play action pass. Fouts trying to go deep. Wes Chandler.
Still down on the ground, Wes Chandler is.
And so is Dan Fouts. And there's William Gay looking at him. Fouts stuck his hand up, and Gay just kind of slapped at it. But Chandler is slow getting up.
Bobby Watkins, number 27, was covering Wes Chandler. And we all know what kind of a receiver Wes Chandler was. Great speed, but Watkins has real speed, too. Perfect throw over the top. You can't have much better coverage, but Watkins stayed with it and got the ball off. But watch Gay. He got the heat from the outside. He's back at home, so to speak, on that right defensive end. He gets some heat just after Fouts throws the ball. Still, the ball was perfectly thrown. Almost caught by Wes Chandler. You know, Bill Gay's an interesting situation as you watch Chandler leave the field. And Wes Chandler, I mean, 7 years out of Florida, so good New Orleans, so good here. But Bill Gay playing the right end again. We'll talk a little bit more back with his buddy Doug English, and we all know what kind of chemistry between a tackle and an end can produce.
2nd and 10 from the 36. Fouts rolling out, looks like a screen. And it is to Kellen Winslow. Kellen Winslow running over people. Number 29, Bruce McNorton, is in on the receiving end of that blow.
The reason I'm laughing, did you see that catch by Kellen Winslow? Just kind of put up his big mitt. The ball was behind him, and it is as though the ball had glue on it or his hand had glue on it. Take a look at it right here. The rush, he waits. Now watch Winslow. Puts the big mitt up. Oh, yeah, I'll catch it with my left hand, one hand, pull it in, and then I'll get some great blocking, turn it upfield for the first down. Yeah, just another day at the office.
He is a remarkable athlete who says he has God-given talents, and he says the things that he does on the field, he's supposed to do. He said he's supposed to make one-handed catches. He's supposed to run over people.
I could argue with that, Jim, because yes, a lot of people are given talent, but to reach your full potential, you must have some drive and some personality to want to do it. Kellen Winslow, despite the fact that some people have called him a crybaby, really comes to play every week.
Well, I don't buy that stuff about crybaby.
Neither do I.
I think that's some people trying to put a label on him. He's a good one. We'll be back in just a moment.
America, what works like a...
So Dan Fouts is 9 of 11 for 138 yards, completing passes to 5 different receivers. 1st and 10 for San Diego. The line 48, and Fouts is back to throw again. This time going deep. Bobby Duckworth. Obvious pass interference against Al Latimer.
And Jim, you and I both know you played defensive back for these San Diego Chargers. You played for Green Bay. I played for the Jets in Pittsburgh. One of the problems when you get someone with the speed of a Duckworth, I mean, he's got outstanding speed. He's 6'3".
Defense number 43 at the 4-yard line. First down.
And you're a defensive back like Al Latimer without great speed, and you get even with that receiver, and the ball's thrown. You try to do anything to slow him down. That time, Latimer got his arm on him. Take a look at the end of it right there. See his left arm? He pushed him a little bit right there. He's straining to keep up with Duckworth, and that's the pass interference call.
And there's no way you can get away from it. 60,000 fans watching, a few million on television. Now it's 1st and goal from the 3-yard line for San Diego. Fouts back to pass. Into the end zone, intended for Kellen Winslow, covered there by Ken Fantetti.
Winslow and Fantetti were mixing it up in the end zone. Kellen just hooked. He was covered. He tried to move around, and then, boy, did Fouts pull the trigger and wing that ball. Couldn't get it into him.
Well, the Lions are in a spot right now that if they go in at halftime down 3 touchdowns to none, and the Chargers really trying to work on their running game, it could be a very, very long second half for them. But right now it's 2nd and goal from the 3. Handoff to Buford McGee. The 3rd short yardage touchdown run of the day for the San Diego Chargers. 2 by Gerald Thomas, 1 there by Buford McGee. And the Chargers are threatening to blow away the Detroit Lions even before the first half is over. 4 minutes, 43 seconds left to go in the first half.
And with McGee and Thomas doing the job, the Chargers can afford to rest Earnest Jackson, who was hurt in that first period. He has a bruised instep, probably could play, but they don't need him at the moment.
Ralph Bernerska. It's Good again. He's a perfect 3 for 3.
Buford, McGee, close to the ground. Watch him right here. Watch the surge of the offensive line. Right up front. He's going to come out of the pack somehow. Here he comes, squeezing, turning, twisting. Gets it into the end zone with some great second effort.
So the Chargers go 87 yards, 8 plays, assume 3 minutes and 42 seconds, and they lead by 3 touchdowns.
Not long ago.
4:43 left to go in the first half. Rolf Bernerska all set to kick off for San Diego. Ken Jenkins and Pete Manley back to receive deep for the Lions, who really have a tough road ahead of them now. As Bernerska gets a good high kick. Jenkins takes it about 8 yards in the end zone. Decides to bring it out. Let the officials bring it out 1st and 10. That's where the Lions will take over from their own 20-yard line. Now we got a spot. And this man is really on the spot. And we'll see how Gary Danielson decides to get his Detroit Lions club back in this ball game in just a moment. Monty Clark's Detroit Lions are minus 27 yards total offense this afternoon. And now they really have to forget about that game plan of wanting to run the ball so much. Willie Sims in the backfield for Detroit. Here's Danielson all set to pass. Pass intended for number 87, David Lewis. You know, one of the things and one of the problems that the Lions have had in recent years is that when they get behind, if they have a player who is a big play man, let's take a Leonard Thompson, for instance. If he drops a pass, sometimes they go away from him. They don't come back to him for a long time, and they have some big play people out there.
They do. They also have Jeff Chadwick, number 89, second year out of Grand Valley State. He's a game breaker. Has good speed, much like a Collinsworth type of player. They should use him more, number 89.
2nd and 10 from the Lion 20. Here's Danielson again. Across the middle, intended for David Lewis again, broken up by Billy Ray Smith.
Excuse me, Joe. I was just going to say that they should also look at their tight end. When you're behind and the other team is playing a zone, your tight end will often be open. They're very high on their number 1 draft choice, David Lewis, the rookie out of California.
And they also know that the Chargers are going to play a lot of zone defense. We've seen here in the first half where the Chargers have not been able to get in a lot of defensive backs because most of the people are hurt. The Raiders bounce back in the 2nd quarter to lead Denver 7-3. San Francisco over Atlanta 7-3 also in the 2nd period. 4:26 left to go in the first half. 3 wide receivers in for Detroit. Danielson from shotgun. Here's the pressure. Intended for Leonard Thompson. Leonard Thompson. Tackle there made by Reuben Henderson.
You mentioned it right there. Leonard Thompson dropped the ball early. Danielson has not come back to him, but that time Leonard Thompson's great speed showed, and it was a fine throw by Danielson. He throws it over the top with Danielson running away from Henderson. Of course, the shotgun gives you a little better look. He gets pretty good pass protection, even though they're blitzing. Waits to the last moment, and watch the throw. Thompson, good concentration right along the sidelines. That's the kind of play they need to pick them up. Get the offense rolling.
Pass completion good for 33 yards. The good ones always come back, don't they?
No doubt about it.
1st and 10 from the Charger 47. Here's the blitz, but it's picked up. Danielson, plenty of time. Across the middle, complete to David Lewis. And Lewis is tackled by Woodrow Lowe.
You know, you talk about number 87, David Lewis, making that catch. And, you know, when you talk to the Detroit Lion people, they rated David Lewis in a class with the Irvin Fryers and the Dean Steincullers. I mean, they said he was that kind of a talent, maybe just a little bit below him, but he is a game-breaking type of tight end with speed and quickness.
Well, if he is, they certainly should use him. And try and get to him a little bit more. Handoff up the middle. James Jones.
You know, Jim, I can buy not panicking with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the first half. You're down 21-0, but still, you must get a score. The Lions need a score before they go in at the half to get some of that momentum back. It's been all San Diego Chargers, and Monty Clark has tried to keep that calm professionalism all week long after the tough loss by 1 point to Minnesota last week. Now he's in a dogfight again.
Yesterday he told us, he says, I want to try and keep my dignity a little bit more this year, keep a little more calm. Well, the waters are a little shaky over there now. 3:03 left to go in the first half. The Lions with 3 wide receivers. Danielson from the shotgun. Complete to Leonard Thompson again. Tackle made by Reuben Henderson once again. So Leonard Thompson, who dropped a pass that was right into his arms, comes back and makes 2 big catches. This one again enough for a first down.
Leonard Thompson is a big play man. He's only averaging 13 yards a reception now. I mean, he was up around 19 for his career. But this, they got one-on-one coverage with Hernandez. He just breaks to the outside, has him beaten badly. That looks like it will be there all day long if they can set up that man-to-man coverage one-on-one with Leonard Thompson.
Who's caught 2 passes for 44 yards. First and 10 from the Charger 32. Hand off to Jones. Woody Lowe again. I tell you, this is we're seeing a great exhibition here of how you play your linebacking position by Woody Lowe, who grades out, as we mentioned earlier, higher than any other player on the defensive roster for the San Diego Chargers. He is everywhere.
You need that kind of active linebacker that can make things happen, especially in the defense, the 3-4 defense that the Chargers play.
The 2-minute warning has been given on the field. And when we come back, the Lions will have the ball 2nd and 10 at the Charger 32. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Gary Danielson and the Detroit Lions trail the San Diego Chargers 21-0, and it is so important, it is imperative that the Lions get something on the scoreboard before they go in. And the Chargers, who have played outstanding defense so far this afternoon, are going to try to keep them from getting in there. 2nd and 10. Danielson back to pass. Leonard Thompson again. Tackle made by Bob Greger. We talked about the good ones always come back to make the big plays, and that's exactly what Leonard Thompson has done.
And you have to praise Gary Danielson. He's standing in the pocket. He's delivering the ball on the time. This is simply a zone. Watch Thompson break inside. He's released to the safety. The ball is delivered on time. By the time the safety comes up to make the tackle, it's a completion. Greger a little bit late there. Did not see the quarterback and ball react, but the timing was perfect here.
Thompson now has 3 receptions for 63 yards. First and 10 from the Charger 13-yard line. Jones in motion. Danielson set to pass. Into the end zone.
It's got to be a penalty.
Flag on the play. Danny Walters defending against Mark Nichols.
He was all over him. There was no question on that penalty call.
So the Lions will get a big break.
Pass interference, defense, number 23, 1-yard line, first down.
You know, Danielson told me yesterday, when Jeff Chadwick's in the game, number 89, if he's open, I'm going to throw to him. And here, take a look at Chadwick right here. He's being covered by Watkins with the fake outside, gets Watkins off balance, and there's the penalty.
Jeff Chadwick instead of
Walters covers.
Billy Sims. And the Lions get on the scoreboard.
Boy, did they need that. And you don't think of Billy Sims at 6 feet, 212, but he is a strong, compact runner. Take a look at him here. Watch his legs drive and watch the surge of the offensive line. But watch Billy Sims. See, he puts his head down. Now watch him keep driving, the body lean. He keeps driving. He's behind that line. He's following the men up front. He gets it in for the touchdown, a much-needed touchdown for the Lions.
So Monty Clark can breathe just a little bit easier now because his club has gotten on the scoreboard. Eddie Murray in to attempt the extra point conversion. Eric Kipple is holding. And it is good.
An impressive drive, Jim.
Certainly was. The Lions go 80 yards, 9 plays, assume 3 minutes and 25 seconds on the clock. Billy Sims going over from 1 yard out.
This NFL Most Valuable Player segment is brought to you by
So after a touchdown run by Billy Sims, the Detroit Lions have jumped back into the ball game. They trail 21-7. A minute 11 left to go in the first half. Eddie Murray set to kick off for Detroit. Lionel James and Buford McGee set to receive for San Diego. McGee number 21, James number 26. It will be McGee as he takes it 5 yards in the end zone. It is down there for a touchback, and the Chargers will take over 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. Coming up at halftime here on CBS, scores and highlights with Brent and Irv. And we will continue with our Legends of the Game feature. This time, a young man who was a tremendous, I'm talking about an absolute great football player, and he's not doing too badly right now as an actor, is he?
Right here for these Detroit Lions. I mean, when you make a transition like that, a difficult one, but it seems complete now because he's as accomplished as an actor, Alex Karras is, as he was as an all-pro defensive lineman for these Detroit Lions. That at halftime here on CBS.
1st and 10 from the 20. Fouts goes back to pass. The Chargers don't sit on anything. Lionel James knocked out of bounds by Ken Fantetti at about the 29-yard line. Pickup of about 9 yards. And Lionel Little Train James.
Little Train. And you're right. They don't know the word conservative in the San Diego offense. They don't know the word not to go for a touchdown or a score. Here, a safe pass to Lionel James. He gets out of bounds, saves the need for a timeout call as well, as he's knocked out right there.
2nd and 1 from the 29-yard line. 1 minute 3 seconds left to go in the first half. Draw play to James. And the little fella, as they call him sometimes, 5'6", 172 pounds, a rookie out of Auburn.
Well, mind you a little of James Brooks with that kind of speed. Take a look at it again. A good call. Obviously, the Detroit Lion defense is sitting back looking for the pass. They're giving up the short stuff. That time a draw play. James shows some intelligence in cutting towards the sidelines, getting out of bounds again to save the timeout.
1st and 10 for the Chargers at their own 49-yard line. 57 seconds left to go in the first half. Fouts back to pass again. Complete to Winslow. Kellen Winslow knocked out of bounds there by Alvin Hall. So Kellen Winslow, but there is a flag on the play. There's a flag at about the 37-yard line as Kellen Winslow picked up enough yardage for the apparent first down.
Illegal contact. Number 27 is declined. Result of the play is the first down.
Call against Bobby Watkins. Here's where the Chargers are just so dangerous.
Awesome. And Fouts on that short time, the quick offense, a 2-minute offense, flying down the field. That time Winslow, a mismatch against the rookie out of North Carolina Central, William Frizzell.
Fouts calls the San Diego Charger offense movement offense. He says just move inches, anything to show some improvement and see signs of moving down the field. And they are now. 1st and 10. Here's Fouts again. Here's Bill Gay. Bill Gay back at his comfortable position at the right defensive end, as he calls it, gets in and drops Dan Fouts for loss of about 7 yards.
Chuck Lowen, number 64, is trying to... San Diego takes a timeout. Number 64 is working on Bill Gay. Bill Gay getting more comfortable. Take a look at him right there in the middle of your screen. 79, quick outside rush, uses that left arm, gets around, then gets the right hand on Fouts right there so he can't throw the ball. See him right there? Fouts tries to pull it down, but no dice as Gay gets a big sack to slow down the high-powered offense of the Chargers. They need that. We said it early. They got to have English and Gay get to Fouts.
It is more than just a regular homecoming for Bill Gay. The strategy session on the sidelines for the Chargers right now is to at least get into field goal position, but the Chargers know, and they are a very, very confident ball club from an offensive standpoint. They feel that they can score anytime they touch the ball, and at times they can.
I mean, they have weapons everywhere. And they also have a coach in Don Coryell who knows how to move an offense, and that's the biggest problem for Monty. I said to Monty yesterday, what do you do when your defense is not playing well and you have a great offense to deal with like the Chargers? And he said, that's a big question, isn't it? He said, you ask your men to rise to the challenge, and that's what he's doing right now. The Lion defense must rise to the challenge and keep San Diego off the board.
Fouts 11 of 14, 167 yards. He's been sacked one time for 7 yards. That one by Bill Gay. 2nd and 17 from the Lion 39-yard line. Draw play. Lionel Jackson. There's a flag on the play. Little Train almost got derailed there by Bill Gay. Gary Cobb.
Well, when you're running the express lane, that can happen to you.
And you're 5'7", it's really going to happen to you.
You know, people talk about him in the same vein as James Brooks. Of course, so many good years here with the Chargers.
Third down, clock is stopped. No foul on the play. Third down.
Ooh, changed his mind or something. No foul. Curtis Green, number 62, and Bill Gay had a hold of Little Train. Take a look at it again. Here, spinning him around. Stop that train. Don't go any further. And they keep pulling and pushing. I guess the referee was saying, well, that's enough, guys. But no foul. The Train holding onto that ball with 2 hands. He better.
It's 3rd and 15. 3rd and 18. The ball at the Lion 38-yard line. And here's Dan Fouts set to pass again. We don't even have to say anything about that. Pass intended for Jesse Bendros. And now the Lions are just coming up with some silly pass interference calls. Bruce McNorton, number 29 there.
Especially since English and Gay were in an in-tackle game, and they got good pressure on Fouts.
Personal foul, not on the pass. Personal foul defense. 15 yards from the previous spot. First down.
Not on the pass. Monty wants to know, what is it? I mean, we don't, it looked like it might have been Bruce McNorton, but he's not saying it was. It's not on the pass. He didn't give a number. Monty wants to know. So do we. But it's 15 yards either way. Chargers moving.
And another costly penalty for the Detroit Lions.
Boy, 32 seconds can be an eternity for a defense when you're playing against an offense like the San Diego Chargers with so many weapons.
Oh, it certainly looked like it was pass interference.
It did on McNorton.
1st and 10 for the Chargers. The 23-yard line of Detroit. 32 seconds left to go in the first half. Here's Little Train. William Frizzell. And there is another flag on the play.
You heard one of the players say, "Are you kidding?" And it's against the Lions again.
The preliminary call is face mask. Which will put the Chargers even closer to the touchdown.
Face mask. 5 yards. Number 26. Second down. Repeating first down. First.
William Frizzell made a good play on the penetration here to try and get Little Train, but here he's coming in, he reaches across, and the only thing he can grab to hold on is that face mask, and that's the penalty. Only had it for a split second, then let it go, but there's the infraction. Penalties now, problems. 6 penalties for 83 yards against the Lions.
That's all it takes is a fraction of a second. Grab that face mask, and it's going to be called. 26 seconds left to go in the first half. 1st and 2 for San Diego. Little Train again. Little Train running like a big locomotive. Down inside the 5, down to about the 2-yard line. The tackle made by Alvin Hall, and the Chargers call timeout.
Lionel James. People are going to start forgetting about Earnest Jackson. I mean, he was the big story coming into the game in terms of the Charger ground game. I mean, he had averaged for the last 3 games about 110 yards. And now Lionel James picking up the slack.
Lionel James right now has 4 carries for 35 yards. 20 seconds to go. The Chargers will have the ball 1st and goal at the Lion 2-yard line. San Diego has 1 timeout left. Detroit has their full complement of 3.
And look at Fouts. He's enjoying this. He knows he can do whatever he wants to do down here. He can throw the ball to his big targets like Kellen Winslow, 6'5", 242. He has Holohan, 6'5", Severs, 6'3". He's also got the good wide receivers. Or else he can just, with 1 timeout left, he can give it to McGee or James or Thomas.
That's Dave Levy to the left of your screen there with the headsets on. Of course, Don Coryell right there in the middle. Levy.
Excuse me, Jim. Coryell loves his offense. He says, when I see it working perfectly, like the way it did 3 weeks ago against Houston, we scored on the first 4 possessions. It just makes me feel good. And look at Fouts.
Well, Coryell is the kind of man who adapts to his personnel. And the personnel here in San Diego is pass, pass, pass. But a little bit of a change this afternoon. They've been running more so than normal. And doing it without their leading running back in Earnest Jackson. First and goal from the 2. Here's the little man. Bobby Watkins, Jimmy Williams.
10 seconds left. Ooh, they finally get a timeout at 11 seconds.
So that is the final timeout for the San Diego Chargers, as they do not want to settle for a field goal. They want 7 points.
And if there's anything you can say as you look at San Diego, no timeouts left, that Fouts can't do down here. You mentioned that the system fitting the players. Fouts doesn't have the ability to roll out, so that's a problem down here, but he certainly has the receivers to catch the ball.
Coming up at halftime, scores and highlights with Brent and Irv. Also, we continue with our series, Legends of the Game. Alex Karras.
Maybe they can put him back in uniform to help their defense today. He reminds me a little of Doug English, the man from Gary, Indiana. Alex Karras has certainly come a long way.
Very sophisticated, straightforward.
You know what I like most about him as an actor? He really has a sensitivity and a sense of comedy. That's really something that's instinctive, as his playing was when he was with the Lions. So much quickness, so much tenacity and toughness.
Yeah, but if you talk to his opponents, they won't say there was anything funny about the way he played. Oh, gee. Second and goal from the 1. McGee and Lionel James. Fouts to pass. Here's Winslow. Kellen Winslow making a one-handed stab, but it is out of bounds. Coverage there by Bobby Watkins.
That's what Fouts said. You know, with Winslow, you have a margin of error. You don't have to throw it perfectly. Here, the margin of error was a little too great, even though Winslow makes a great catch. Of course, he's 6'5", and he has great arm reach. Watch this right there. Makes the one-handed grab. Can't get his feet down in bounds.
So Ralph Bernerska will come in and attempt a field goal from 19 yards out. This will be his first field goal attempt this season from 19 yards. And he puts it through. 4 seconds left to go in the first half. Ralph Bernerska with a field goal to give the San Diego Chargers a 24-7 lead over the Detroit Lions. And I guess if you could say if there is anything good to come out of that drive for the Lions, at least they held the Chargers to 3 points.
I was just going to say, it's almost like a moral victory for the Lions. They didn't get into the end zone. They held them. So all of the momentum isn't gone, even though they're trailing here now 24-7 going into the locker room. They got 4 seconds left, so really they'll go into the half in this situation knowing that their offense put a good touchdown drive on the board. You remember they went 9 plays and 80 yards on that last drive before Billy Sims finally took it in. So Detroit showed themselves, well, we can score.
But the thing about it is, will they continue to have that wide open kind of offense that they showed on that drive by the Lions when Sims scored? That's one of the things that I'm sure Don Coryell is concerned about right now.
And another thing he's concerned about, he told us before that his defense wasn't exactly overwhelming. His biggest need in next year's draft will be a defensive lineman. He has injuries in the secondary, so if you're trying to come back, as the Lions will be in the second half, you're doing it against a defense that's not overwhelming, overpowering.
Ralph Bernerska set to kick off for San Diego. Ken Jenkins and Pete Manley set deep for the Lions, and it's a short squib kick. Dave Adio, number 44. And with that squib kick, it is the end of the first half. So after 30 minutes of play, it is the San Diego Chargers leading the Detroit Lions 24-7. Danielson and the Detroit Lions have a tremendous uphill battle as they trail the San Diego Chargers at halftime 24-7.
They'll get the ball first, though, and they'll have a chance to set the tone of the second half and decide whether they get the momentum back on their side. Remember, that last drive was a good drive. He mixed the pass and the run well. before finally getting into the end zone, Billy Sims.
And I'm really going to be interested in seeing, John, what they'll do when they get the ball on offense. Ralph Bernerska's all set to kick off. Ken Jenkins and Pete Manley set to receive for the Lions. Good high kick. This is Jenkins at the goal line. Jenkins bounces away from one tackler, but he can't get away from Cliff Thrift.
You talk about setting the tone. The special teams from the Chargers set the tone right there as Detroit gets poor field position. First half stats, you see the total yards. Chargers more than double the output of the Lions. And that's really the story of this game. Fouts has had a good first half, 11 for 15, 159 yards. Not awesome. Danielson on the other side, 9 of 13 for 83 yards, but he was sacked 3 times.
It will be 1st and 10 for the Detroit Lions at their own 10-yard line. You know Danielson's going to have to put it up. Here's Jones in motion. Danielson back to pass. Complete to Jones. James Jones. Tackled by Billy Ray Smith. Pickup of about 7 yards.
And Jones's nickname from his team, just because of his instinct. I mean, his mind and his understanding of the game is yet he's only in his 2nd year out of Florida.
But there's one thing that we really want to stress right now. There's plenty of time for the Lions to really get back into this ball game and make it a competitive contest. Toss back to Billy Sims. Good block by Jones. You better watch out now. Billy Sims, the man from the Motor City.
Lightning strikes.
The officials, well, he's waving it off. Now there's a bit of confusion now. One official had ruled it a touchdown. The other official said he was down right at the 1-yard line.
Either way, it is a great situation for the Lions. Lightning strikes. They get the momentum. Remember, we just talked about it. What will they do on their first series? Billy Sims sets the tone, going 81 yards. Monty must feel good right now. Good blocking by James Jones. Take a look at number 30 leading the way. James Jones gets a good block. The offensive line seals off the defense. Good cut right there. And watch number 23, Danny Walters. He's knocked down by an official right there. See the official block number 23, Danny Walters? That allows Billy Sims to take it all the way down to the 1-yard line.
Tackle there made by Gil Bird. We have to remind you, folks, the official is part of the field.
Tell that to the Chargers.
Here's Jones, and he scoots in for the score. Billy Sims scoots in.
Billy Sims a little bit weary after going 81 yards, but still he takes it in. Same play they used for the first touchdown. And Billy, you see after the play when he scored, he had that little bit of his airplane, and he said, well, wait a minute, that could be a fine.
Yeah, well, you know, when he ran in right then, when he ran in like that, he really looked a little bit like Jones, but that's Billy Sims going in. He ran it down all the way to the 1-yard line, took it over for the score, and we just got through saying there is plenty of time.
And can you imagine what Monty said to them in the locker room? He said, gentlemen, you're down. Do you want to be 1-4? Be men, come out and do it in the second half, and they have done it right now, quickly.
Eddie Murray in to attempt the extra point conversion. And it is good.
Take a look at the run again. Billy Sims sets up the block himself by ducking back inside, but number 67 also gets a good block. Here's Jones. See Sims duck inside. That gives Jones a better angle on the linebacker than just a little help from the official. You'll see it right there. The official knocks down defensive back, the cornerback, number 23, and Billy Sims does the rest himself, getting down to the 1-yard line.
There he was tackled by Gil Bird, but on the next play, Billy Sims goes over, and now San Diego leads Detroit 24-14. So behind the efforts of Billy Sims, the Lions trail 24-14. Eddie Murray all set to kick off for Detroit. Lionel James and Buford McGee set to receive for the Chargers. And it is short. Ron Ingloff. So the Chargers will come out and set up shop. 1st and 10 at their own 33-yard line. The scoring drive, and it is a quick one. 3 plays, 90 yards. Consumed 1 minute and 41 seconds on the clock. Billy Sims going over from the 1-yard line.
And Billy Sims, 81-yard, a beautiful run. And now, can the Lion defense pick up what the offense has just left off?
They'll get a good shot at it because you know the Chargers aren't going to sit on anything. They're going to go. And here goes Fouts. Complete to Charlie Joyner. Bruce McNorton in on the tackle for Detroit.
That's the depressing thing about playing against the San Diego Chargers. Your offense goes 90 yards for a quick touchdown, but then you know you have to deal with the Chargers and the confident offense that they have. What does he do? First play, he gets the ball back, a completion, very close to the first down. That's Dan Fouts, and that's difficult for a defense.
Pickup of 9 yards. 2nd and 1. Charlie Joyner has 5 receptions for 7. Buford McGee in the backfield for San Diego, and he gets the handoff.
Number 21,
Bill Gay and Doug English in on the tackle for Detroit.
stop by number 79, William Gay.
So the Lions strike and strike fast, and it really kind of calmed down this capacity crowd here in San Diego. So there is a measurement on the field as you look at Buford McGee. McGee, Lionel James, Joel Thomas taking over running duties, as it is a first down as indicated by referee Jim Tunney. As Earnest Jackson left the ball game with a sprained arch.
And they told me at halftime that Earnest Jackson can come back and play if he so chooses. The injury is not a serious one, and he's expected back if they need him.
1st and 10 for San Diego. Draw play to McGee. Jimmy Williams, number 59, in on the tackle. So the Lions have really have a little bit of momentum on their side right now, and I think that the offensive spurred by Billy Sims and his offensive line and the great blocks that they received a little while ago, that's got to be a carryover to the defensive unit. It must make them feel a little bit better.
The only problem is the San Diego offense has the ability to drain the life out of a defense.
2nd and 8. Here's Fouts again. Into and out of the hands of Pete Holohan.
Hit him in a bad spot.
Jimmy Williams defending for Detroit.
I say that because Holohan has the best hands on the team. It's recognized. And Winslow talked about the type of pass that Fouts throws, and he said, well, anytime, the only one I dropped this year, Winslow told us, was when it was hit me in the chest. Dan doesn't usually throw it that way, so I came back and said, well, Dan, don't hit me in the chest. Throw it where you usually throw it.
3rd and 8. 3rd down conversion. San Diego is 3 of 4. From their own 45-yard line. Looked like Doug Wilkerson, number 63, was moving for the Chargers. A 15-year veteran from North Carolina Central.
Ball start.
And that apparently is who the penalty was called against. The San Diego Chargers have 3 penalties
Ball
for...
start. 77. Still 3rd down.
Oh, they call on Sam Clappin. So it was Clappin, number 77. We saw Wilkerson move also. As I was saying, the Chargers, 3 penalties for 27 yards. Detroit, 6 penalties for 83 yards. 3rd and 13 for the Chargers at their own 40-yard line. Here's Fouts all set to pass again. Pass intended for Bobby Duckworth. Good defense there by Bobby Watkins.
An outstanding play by Bobby Watkins, who came over, kept the tendency there on a defensive back when he's coming over the shoulder is to get that right hand on the shoulder of the receiver in this situation. Watkins didn't do that. He just got his left hand right there in front of the receiver, knocks it down. Duckworth can't make the reception. Lions will get the ball back. Defense held.
It will be the first punt of the afternoon for Maury Buford. Robbie Martin, who is a big play man for the Lions on special teams, is back to receive about his own 23-yard line. Good high kick. ball goes into and out of the end zone for a touchback. And the Lions will take over 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. A punt of some 60 yards with no return. So when we come back, the Lions will have the ball 1st and 10 at their own 20 as they trail by 10. So now the pressure changes to the Charger defense, and the man in charge of that is holding the clipboard in the middle of your screen, Tom Bass, who is their defensive coordinator.
Who expected this game to be a track meet. He said there'll be points on the board. And he's right.
That's right, 38 of them already. 1st and 10 for Detroit at their own 20. Toss back to Billy Sims. Fumble the ball.
Sims, the ball carrier. There was a fumble on the play.
But the Lions maintain possession.
Recovered by
Don Greco, number 67, recovers the fumble by Billy Sims.
They try to do the same play to the other side that Sims went 81 yards on. You have to wonder if Billy Sims is a little winded, a little tired, having run 81 yards, the longest of his career from the line of scrimmage.
But as he told us yesterday, he said when the game is on the line and it's a pressure situation, he said, I want the ball. So you want your big man in there, and he certainly is. Pick up of 2 yards, 2nd and 8. Jones in motion. Danielson's back to pass. Complete on the far sidelines to James Jones. Knocked out of bounds there by Danny Walters. Billy Sims, who's had a marvelous day. We mentioned 81 yards on the run was his longest run from scrimmage. 107 yards.
What is Dave Craig doing there? Someone must have made a mistake. How in the world did he get 61 yards against this defense?
Quarterback draw.
Everybody can't scramble.
Yeah, everybody covered. 3rd and 4 now for Detroit. They are 3 of 6 on 3rd down conversions from the shotgun. Good protection. Oh, what a catch. Jeff Chadwick. Tackle there made by Bob Greger. That's the gentleman you were talking about a little earlier. Monty Clark was telling us about him, that he is a big play man, and that was certainly a big catch.
And also the ability to find the open spot. There were receivers that had Danielson, and yesterday he said Chadwick has it. Take a look at him in the slot. He's being covered by number 22 Bird in the slot. There's a lot of pushing and shoving going on. Danielson, to his credit, throws the ball in the place where Chadwick could stretch out and catch it, and the defensive back, number 22, Gil Bird, could not get to it.
Chadwick's first reception of the afternoon, good for 1st down. Mark Nichols in motion. Handoff to Jones. Jones is met by the entire middle of the Charger defensive line, led by Bill Elko.
You know, you talk about Billy Sims already having 98 yards. This is a good defense, San Diego Charger defense, against the rush. Coming into today's game, Jim, they were ranked 3rd in the NFL, allowing just 91 yards on the ground. So Billy Sims has gone over that by some 7 yards already.
And that's a tremendous improvement for the Chargers, because as we know in recent years, they have always had trouble with their defense, but in the last couple of games, they've played well. 2nd and 9 for Detroit. Picked up the blitz. Pass thrown to the near sideline, and it's complete to Mark Nichols. Oh, the Lions did an excellent job of picking up the blitz then. Lyndon King in on the tackle.
Well, Mark Nichols is a man with outstanding ability. It's taken him a while to develop as a wide receiver. He's in his 4th year, and it's only now that he's getting the feel of where to go and getting open. Here he's matched against Ken Green, the safety, 7 years out of Washington State. He just has too much speed. Green gives him a little bit of a cushion. He makes the catch along the sidelines for the 1st down.
Gil Bird knocking Nichols out of bounds. 1st and 10. Play action pass. Good protection across the middle. Complete to Jeff Chadwick. So the big play man comes through with another big catch. Bob Greger in on the tackle.
Not only did he come up with a good catch, that ball was thrown a little bit late, so Chadwick had to go up and use his 6'3" frame to keep Greger away. You know, Jim, you played defensive back, but watch, the ball is thrown a little bit late, but it's the fact that Chadwick goes up like a rebounder in basketball, shields the defensive back right there. See, it's a little bit late, and makes the reception.
And one of the things that you do as a quarterback, when you know you have a great athlete as a wide receiver, throw it up in the air, down on the ground. He'll go get it. Billy Sims alone set back for Detroit. 1st and 10. Draw play to Sims. Bob Greger in on the tackle for San Diego. So you can kind of feel that momentum a little bit more now as the Lion offense is opening up just a little bit more with 8 minutes left to go in the third period.
And Gary Danielson, when you talk to him, is so relaxed, so comfortable, so confident. He said this is the best that Gary Danielson has ever played in his career, and it's evident on this drive. He's mixing up the run with the pass, and he has yet to throw an interception in 5 games this year.
14 of 18 for 159 yards so far today. 2nd and 5 from the 30. The toss back to Sims again. There's a flag on the play as Billy Sims dives down to about the 26-yard line where he's tackled by Gilbert.
Tackled by Gilbert, and a penalty flag on the field.
Sims just put his head down and just dove in towards the 25-yard line. The preliminary call is holding against Detroit.
And one of the reasons that the Lions are doing so well is their offensive line. And it's anchored by a man, number 70, Keith Dorney.
Holding, 30, 10 yards, still 2nd down.
They got James Jones for holding on the lead block, but I was just mentioning Keith Dorney, the right tackle, in his 6th year out of Penn State, drafted number 1 back in '79. Last year, Jim, he had all those problems with his back. I saw him last night as you look at the Rams on top of the Giants, and he was telling me, I'm finally healthy. They used enzyme treatment. Denver over the Raiders. That's a surprise. They're using enzyme treatment to get me healthy. I feel good. I'm strong, and things are going well. Number 70, Keith Dorney.
2nd and 15. Officials call the timeout on the field.
Number 1.
So the Chargers on defense called timeout, which is kind of a surprise. You normally try to save those timeouts for the last part of your game and leave them for your offense. But Charger defense calls timeout. 7 minutes, 31 seconds left in the third period.
I tell you, playing polo is a lot tougher than...
The roar in the background. Fan Participation Day. It's called the Wave, and it is sweeping its way across the country. Right now, the San Diego Chargers and their fans enjoy just a 10-point lead over Detroit Lions. 24-14. 7 minutes, 31 seconds left to go here in the third period. 2nd and 15 now for the Lions. Play action pass to Danielson. Right down the middle. Danielson, Rob Rubik, fooling a lot of people, throwing to someone who's virtually unknown, picking up a big first down.
A measure of the maturity of Gary Danielson. He checked off at the line of scrimmage because he saw that double zone deep. He knew that number 84, Bob Rubeck, would be open, and he was for the completion. As we have a Charger, Reuben Henderson, down on the ground, defensive back. But take a look at it. He took a long time to call this play. As a matter of fact, I thought it was going to be delay of game. Finally, he knows that Bob Rubeck's going to be open, and this is what he said: I can see things a lot more. I'm able to read defenses better than I've ever been able to do before. Gary Danielson, in his 8th year out of Purdue, doing the job as the Lions are trying to come back against the Chargers here at Jack Murphy Stadium.
All out is the only way you go. And it earns you the rewards.
College football, October 13th, right here on CBS. Illinois will be at Ohio State to take on the undefeated Buckeyes, or Washington against Stanford.
And how about Stanford's quarterback, John Pay? Some say he may be the best ever to play the quarterback position at Stanford. I'm a little bit surprised.
I am too. We talked about it earlier, considering the fact that John Elway came from Stanford, and he had the reputation of being one of the best ever.
And what about, wouldn't it be ironic if he was? John Pay became the best ever at Stanford with Jack Elway as the head coach. As you look at Henderson being taken from the field, and they can ill afford to lose another defensive back. Jim Hill, you may have to suit up for the Chargers. They're really down on their defensive backs. They probably have about 4 healthy.
I'm not even going to respond to that. There's
you
no
know they'd
way.
be desperate if that happened.
Take a look at some third quarter scores. New Orleans leading Houston 17-3. Washington over the Philadelphia Eagles 17-0 in the third period. No, John, I think I'll just stay right here with you.
In the safety of the booth.
1st and 10 for the Detroit Lions. at the Chargers' 16-yard line. Mark Nichols in motion. Handoff goes to Billy Sims. Sims fighting his way down to about the 12-yard line before he's tackled by Billy Ray Smith.
But, I mean, we were kidding about the secondary situation, but it's getting more critical by the moment for the San Diego Chargers. We mentioned Pearson injured against the Raiders. Andre Young is hurt. Here we see Reuben Henderson leaving the field. He's also out. So it's a critical situation in the secondary, which obviously gives the Lions more chance to come back in this football game.
And that is not the kind of injury that you like to see when you get taken off on the stretcher like that in the car. 2nd and 6. Reverse to Jeff Chadwick. He gets the block from Gary Danielson. Jeff Chadwick, who we talked about being a big play man, comes up with another big play on the reverse. And the Lions, who we mentioned should feel the momentum being on their side right now, are really back in the game now.
A little bit of a tricky situation here because they often run that reverse to Leonard Thompson. Here they use Jeff Chadwick instead, and I want to show you after this extra point the block that Gary Danielson threw. You mentioned it, Jim. It was a beauty.
Eddie Murray in to attempt the extra point. And it's right down the middle.
We talked about Gary Danielson having a wonderful year as a quarterback. Well, take a look at this. He's doing it all. He's not only throwing, handing off, but he's also blocking. He pitches to Sims. Sims hands off to Chadwick. And watch Danielson. He just threw a block. You couldn't see it very well, but that's the reason that Chadwick can run to the corner of the end zone unmolested for the touchdown.
So the second half so far has belonged to the Detroit Lions as they have fought their way back in this ball game and trail by 3.
Look who's entered the personal computer game now.
So the Detroit Lions have really bounced back in this ball game in a big way. And it all started with an 81-yard run by Billy Sims. Eddie Murray all set to kick off. Lionel James and Buford McGee set to receive for San Diego. This will be a little training. Lionel James does not get back up to the 20-yard line as he's tackled by Steve Doig. Next Sunday, NFL Today, a feature on Richard Todd that Phyllis George takes a look at. It's called In Todd We Trust.
Richard Todd happy to be down there with Bum Phillips. Just miserable in New York. The pressure got to him. He just feels now he can start all over and hopefully take those New Orleans Saints for a win against Chicago next week right here on CBS.
These games follow. St. Louis at Dallas. The Cowboys won today. New Orleans at Chicago. We'll be watching Walter Payton there. Minnesota at Tampa Bay. Washington at Indianapolis. And Atlanta at the Los Angeles Rams. 5 minutes, 58 seconds left to go in the third period. The Chargers with a 3-point lead have the ball 1st and 10 at their own 9-yard line. Dan Fouts at quarterback for San Diego, and he's back to pass. Intended for Charlie Joyner. Coverage there by Bruce McNorton.
Ball was just thrown a little bit too soon before Joyner could do it. And take a look at the total offense. San Diego dominated this game in the first half. Now Detroit has taken over. Look at the third quarter. 170 to 18 yards to the San Diego Chargers. Lion defense is playing well in this quarter.
So far this afternoon, Dan Fouts 12 of 19 for 176 yards. He has the ball 2nd and 10 at his own 9. Let's hold a hand in motion. And Fouts is back to pass from his own goal line. Over the head of Kellen Winslow. Coverage there by Demetrius Johnson. So the Lion defense really knows that if they can hold now, they'll get the ball in excellent field position. The Chargers so far this afternoon on 3rd down conversions, 3 of 5.
And it's almost, Jim, like there's two different defenses. In the first half, the Chargers ran wild for 244 yards in total offense. Here in the second half, they've been just about shut down with a critical 3rd down play coming up right now.
Buford McGee, the lone setback for San Diego. Here's Fouts again. Complete to Winslow. Winslow tackled by William Frizzell. And it looks like it is enough yardage for the first down.
And if Kellen Winslow weren't 6'5" and 242 pounds and this strong, he wouldn't have got the first down. Take a look at Bill Frizzell, number 26, covering Winslow on the inside. Winslow makes his cut. Frizzell comes up and hits him, but Winslow, being so strong, just gets that extra yard.
Toss back to McGee. And the little man. It's tackled by Gary Cobb. Pickup of 9 yards. And it'll be 2nd and 1. McGee so far 13 carries for 39 yards and 1 touchdown.
And it's interesting how McGee and James and Thomas have picked up that slack for Jackson, who's along the sidelines. They're going to keep him out unless the score gets really tight. And it is tight by 3 points, but he's not in there yet.
2nd and 1. Here's a handoff to McGee. Ken Fantetti. Demetrius Johnson. Both in on the tackle for Detroit.
Fantetti is the man. Every defense needs its leader. Number 57 is the man that Monty Clark calls his deluxe hitter. He sets the tone on defense, and they haven't been tenacious through the first few weeks of the season. I mean, this is a defense that has given up 26 points a game, but Fantetti, back from that shoulder injury, is picking up the tempo.
1st and 10 from the Charger 32-yard line. 3:53 left to go in the 3rd period. Out set to pass. Complete to McGee. Is hit immediately by Gary Cobb. So for an NFL update, let's go to Brent Musburger in New York.
Jim, right up the coast from you in Anaheim, California, the Rams have now 2 safeties against the Giants. The officials say that Phil Simms was in the grasp. They award 2 more points to the Rams, who lead it 28-6. Let's go back to Jim.
Thank you very much, Brent. That is a bit of a surprise because a lot of people thought that that game would be a lot closer up the coast. But down the coast here in San Diego,
this one is close, yes.
Fouts rolling out. Screen pass to Kellen Winslow. Gets away from Bilgate. Kellen Winslow. He can't get away from Mike Coper.
The man that has caught more passes in the last 5 years than any other in the league is so good after he catches the ball. Have you ever seen a tight end that's been this good after he's caught the ball, Jim?
I tell you, there are some tight ends that I have seen and played against. There's one right down a couple of booths over, Charlie Sanders, who used to play for these same Detroit Lions. He was a marvelous tight end. But you're right, Kellen Winslow, when you talk about the cream of the crop today, he certainly is there. 5 receptions for 66 yards. 2 minutes, 18 seconds to go in the 3rd period. Fouts is all set to pass again. Quick over the middle. There is a penalty flag on the play against San Diego. So Charlie Joyner made the reception and put it deep into Lion territory, only to have it called back because of a penalty.
Pass interference, offense, number 88, 10 yards, still 3rd down.
Pete Holohan, who comes out of the ball game, and Kellen Winslow checks back in.
Might have been a little bit of a pick play there for Joyner. Holohan just came off the line, pushed the defensive back.
2 minutes, 8 seconds left to go in the 3rd period. The Chargers with 3 wide receivers. Here's Fouts. Over the head of Wes Chandler. Coverage there by Bobby Watkins.
Chandler looking for the flag. So are the fans here in San Diego.
But good defense by the Detroit Lions.
And again, they stopped the Chargers. Important. The Lions have scored twice in this half, and the Chargers have not been able to get untracked.
Second punt of the afternoon for Maury Buford. His first one went for 60 yards. Robbie Martin back to receive for Detroit. So Robbie Martin from the Southern California area will get his chance to make a big play. But here's a big punt. And here's Martin. Robbie Martin gets up to about the 35-yard line, 36-yard line, before he's tackled by Dennis McKnight.
He's brought down by number 60, Dennis McKnight.
So there is a flag, another penalty flag on the field. The preliminary call is against San Diego, it appears.
Ineligible man, number 56, downfield, declined, first down.
Vince Osby. But the Lions declined the penalty. They will take over 1st and 10 from their own 36-yard line. Earlier today, the Dallas Cowboys defeated the Chicago Bears 23-14, and the Cowboys will take on the St. Louis Cardinals next Sunday right here on CBS. But we've got a good one for you this afternoon. The Lions have fought their way back into the ballgame. Here, Danielson all set to pass. Throws long downfield for Mark Nichols. Nichols with an unbelievable catch. But there is a flag on the play.
And it's against San Diego. At least that's what Gary Danielson.
Play, ineligible man was not downfield, first down.
And Jim, this is a question of the wide receiver being 6'2" and 208 pounds, and the defensive back, number 22, being only 5'10". Watch him here. Danielson scrambling, and Nichols just comes back and comes over the top of Bird right there. Brings it in. Oh, key completion, and holds on as he's being dragged to the ground. I thought Danielson might have thrown his first interception, but Nichols saved him.
Well, that's what you need. That's one thing we're talking about. When you have an athlete, when you have a player who's a great athlete, you know he has great leaping ability. Put it up there and let him go get it. 1st and 10 for Detroit. Besides his 20-yard line. Jones in motion. Toss back to Billy. Oh, it's a fake. A fake reverse. Ken Jenkins. And there's another flag on the play. So the Lions, who successfully used a reverse earlier, the flag holding against Detroit, come back with a fake this time. Ken Jenkins faking the reverse. Detroit is called for holding.
Some razzle-dazzle. They used it last week to score a touchdown against Minnesota. They got another one here today when Chadwick took the reverse in for the touchdown.
Holding, 84, 10 yards, still first down.
Well, that's the thing that the Lions really should do. They have the personality that is flashy. When you talk to them off the field, they have a vibrant, bubbling personality. That's the kind of offense that they should have. They have the people at the wide receiver positions to go make those great catches. Here's Danielson again. Complete. And Jones fights his way down to about the 12-yard line. Tackle made by Woodrow Lowe.
The ultimate compliment came yesterday when we were talking to Don Coryell. He said, we would have loved to have had James Jones had he been available to us in the draft. He wasn't. James Jones just so good out of the backfield and a big target at 6'2", 230 pounds with great hands.
2nd and 2 for the Chargers. Or rather for the Detroit line at the Charger 12-yard line. The Lions moving again. Here's Danielson. Throws to the outside, intended for Mark Nichols. Gil Bird in on the coverage, and Nichols had turned around and looked like he was trying to fake a pass interference call there, which is what the nifty, slick wide receivers will try to do from time to time.
Jim, I think he just slipped down there on the goal line. Take a look at it again. Here, he's on the inside. Bird is covering him. He just breaks to the outside. Looked like their legs got tangled up for a second, and he slipped. But it's interesting, they kept both backs in maximum protection to block for Danielson, and they would just go into their wide receivers.
Danielson now 17 of 22, 239 yards. 3rd and 2 at the Charger 12. Hand off to Jenkins. Bill Elko and Lyndon King in on the tackle.
Number 57, Lyndon King.
For San Diego.
Also in on the stop, Mike Brady.
17 seconds left to go.
What a critical game for the Detroit Lions and Monty Clark. They're 1-3. They don't want to be 1-4, as we mentioned earlier.
There's a little bit of confusion on the field right now because Monty Clark is trying to signal to Gary Danielson. Danielson is waving the players off the field.
He's going to go for it, and he's not going to go for the field goal to tie. A little bit of a surprise.
That was the end of the 3rd period, and it's really kind of confusing on the Detroit side. And Gary Danielson out on the field, a little bit of confusion. Monty Clark trying to get a message into his quarterback, and Danielson is the end of the 3rd quarter with the score. San Diego 24, Detroit 21. We pause now for a word from your local station.
Final score, Dallas 23.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Chrysler Plymouth, who invite you to discover the new technology of driving at your Chrysler Plymouth dealer. Light beer from Miller, everything you always wanted in a beer, and less. And by Owens Corning, our building products put your house in the pink.
The confusion at the end of the 3rd period. Monty Clark was trying to send someone in from the sidelines. Gary Danielson, realizing only about 4 or 5 seconds left, waved the decision off by Monty Clark. They changed ends of the field, but now they're going for it on 4th and 1 from the 11-yard line. The Lions trail by 3 at 24-21, and you really wonder, why is Monty Clark going to go for it down here?
Why would he pass up a 27-yard field goal, which would tie the game, unless he knows about the San Diego Charger offense, which can score at any time?
Now it appears they're trying to draw him off sides.
Take the delay of game and kick the field goal. 5 yards doesn't mean anything here.
So now we find out exactly what the discussion was. The Lions
30 seconds, 5 yards, still 4th down.
Trying to draw the Chargers offsides. They take a 5-yard penalty, and Eddie Murray will come in to attempt a field goal. So the Lions trail 24-21. Eddie Murray in to attempt a 35-yard field goal. He is 1 for 1 from that distance. Eddie Murray missing a 35-yard field goal.
It was not a perfect snap. Take a look. Hipple gets it down, spins it. Murray's trying to try. Oh, come on, get through, get through. It hits the upright. No dice.
So with total frustration on the far sidelines, the Detroit Lions trail the San Diego Chargers 24-21. So after Eddie Murray misses a 35-yard field goal, the Chargers take over 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line with Dan Fouts at quarterback. And Fouts is all back, set to pass. Complete to Charlie Joyner. Tackle made by Bruce McNorton. So once again, the young Lion defense will be put to the test. Here at beautiful Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, California, Fouts is 16 of 24 for 201 yards. Meanwhile, just up the 405 freeway in the third period, the Los Angeles Rams lead the New York Giants 31-6. Next Sunday, the NFL Today, the Atlanta Falcons will take on those same Los Angeles Rams. Toss back to McGee. Whether this is Lionel James, the little guy. And there is a flag on the play. There has been a series of things that have happened in the second half here, John, which has really gone against the Chargers. They've come up with some penalties at the most inopportune times as far as they are concerned, and they just keep giving new life to this young Lion defensive unit.
Well, sooner or later, the San Diego offense was going to have to sputter. They've played so well this season.
85, 10 yards, still second down.
Eric Sievers was the man. They are the #1 offense coming into this game in the NFL, averaging almost 450 yards a game. So somewhere along the line they had a sputter, and that's what happened to them. That's what's happening to them right now.
2nd and 11 on the Charger 19-yard line. Here's a handoff to Lionel James. Lionel James tackled by Gary Cobb.
Stop by number 63.
In the third period, it's Green Bay over Tampa Bay by 3, 20-17. New Orleans leading Houston 20-10 in the fourth period. The Raiders trailing Denver 16-10 in the third quarter. And San Francisco over Atlanta 14-3 also in the third quarter.
Wouldn't the Chargers like to see the Raiders lose? Maybe it took more out of the Raiders that Monday night game against these Chargers.
Fouts is back to pass. Wes Chandler. Knocked out of bounds by Bobby Watkins.
Dan Fouts can do it when he's not even picture perfect or classic. That time he was off balance, but his arm is so quick and so strong. Off balance, he still got the completion for the first down.
Chandler's first catch of the afternoon, good for 11 yards and a first down at the Charger 35-yard line. The Chargers lead the Lions 24-21. 13 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in the ball game. Fouts is back to pass again. Joyner knocked out of bounds by Alvin Hall and Bruce McNorton. So Charlie Joyner has had a big afternoon.
After being shut out last week against the Raiders, of course, with their great cornerbacks, the Raiders shut down the wide receivers of the Chargers. And Fouts said, you know, we think we can get the ball upfield against Detroit, and that's exactly what he's doing right now, and Joyner's been a big part of that.
Charlie Joyner this afternoon, 7 receptions for 87 yards. 2nd and 1. And the Charger 44. Handoff up the middle to McGee. Tackle made by Doug English.
Stop by number 78.
So what started out, and it's good enough for the first down, so what started out and looked like a Charger runaway at the end of the first half has really turned into a scuffle here with 12 minutes and 50 seconds left to go in the ball game.
And much of that has to do with the defense of the Lions. English and Gay starting to pick it up. Of course, Doug English, 3 times Pro Bowl, number 78, doing a good job with defensive line for the Lions.
It's Holohan in motion for San Diego as Fouts is set to pass. Dan Fouts scrambling out of the pocket, chased by Bill Gay. And Gay drags him out of bounds at about the 49-yard line. One of the very few times you will see Dan Fouts running. And when you look at Bill Gay, you see why.
Dan Fouts does not want to do this. It was interesting when he talked about the system fitting his players. He says, you don't see us rolling out. You don't see me running because this old body won't do it. Here, he's forced to do it. under pressure. Big Bill Gay, all 6'5", 260 pounds of him, drags him down.
Fouts 18 of 26 for 224 yards. That's Mike Kofer, who is injured on the field. And with the injury timeout, 12 minutes, 25 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter, the Lions trail the Chargers by 3.
Chrysler creates a more powerful laser because the competition is always on our team.
Monty Clark walking off the field after coming out to see what the problem is with the injured Mike Kofer. We also have a report that Reuben Henderson, who was taken off the field on the cart, suffered a mild concussion and probably will not return. Now that same cart that took Reuben Henderson off the field is coming on to get Mike Kofer.
You know, Jim, Kofer left the field a little while ago with a pinched nerve in his neck. He came back, but this time he appears to be in tremendous pain.
And there's also a stretcher coming out.
And one of the problems the Detroit Lions have had is finding some kind of a chemistry in their defensive line. Of course, the defensive line sets the tone. They haven't been able to find that. And Doug English calls this man, Mike Kofer, the best athlete on the team and potentially a great defensive end in the NFL.
Here's an update on scores around the National Football League in the third quarter. The Rams leading the New York Giants 33-6. Denver over the Los Angeles Raiders in the fourth period, 16-13. And Washington blanking Philadelphia 20-0 in the fourth quarter.
You get the feeling that Washington is back after today. They'll be 3-2 and in the hunt for Dallas, who is now 4-1 after winning today.
2nd and 7 now for the Chargers at their own 49-yard line. Fouts is back to pass. Good protection. Going to Wes Chandler. Wes Chandler dropped the ball, covered there by Bruce McNorton.
I think Bruce McNorton, number 29, was expecting some help from the inside from number 21, Demetrius Johnson. Take a look at it. Ball is thrown on the line on the cut. See number 21 is a little late getting there, helping McNorton. That's because Fouts has such a quick delivery, he can't react as a defensive back.
You won't see Wes Chandler drop too many passes like that one. 3rd and 7 from the Charger 49-yard line. Quick pass to Kellen Winslow. Winslow tackled by Demetrius Johnson is in on the tackle there. Also number 26, William Frizzell.
Sometimes a receiver gets such a stature that he intimidates defensive backs. Certainly Winslow has that. Take a look at him here in the slot. Frizzell is backing off before he ever leaves the line of scrimmage. Instead of challenging him, he lets him come off, he flips him the ball, and they get the first down.
Winslow, 6 receptions for 79 yards. 1st and 10 for the Chargers. There's the toss back to Lionel James. Lionel James gets to about the 35-yard line. So for an NFL update report, let's go to New York and Brent Musburger.
Jim, as you know, it's inexcusable to have one punt blocked in a pro football game. The Giants have now had 2, and it results in the 3rd safety for the Rams. That's an NFL record, all in the third quarter, 33-6. It's a disaster. Let's go back to Jim.
Thank you, Brendan. You just know that someone's really going to get their ears chewed on in special teams meeting in that particular ball game on Monday. But here, Fouts is back to pass again. Intended for Eric Sievers. Over his head. We get a report now on Mike Kofer that he was suffering from the cramps. And it was not the neck injury that had first been reported that he had earlier. 3rd down and 9 now for the Chargers. The Chargers on 3rd down conversions are 6 of 9. At the Detroit Lion 36-yard line. to Pete Holohan. Tackle made by Gary Cobb.
They talk about the San Francisco 49er offense as being sophisticated. Well, this is just like basketball on cleats. He sends everyone out. He's telling you, forget about the run. We don't care about that. We're sending everyone out, spreading your defense across the field, and I'll find the open man for the first down. That's exactly what he does. And he's got the receivers with the hands to do it. Pete Holohan.
And with that, another first down for San Diego. Handoff to McGee. Tackle made by Ken Fantetti and Eric Williams. The Chargers now with a 3-point lead. 10 minutes left to go in the ball game. Are really having things under control as far as their offense is concerned. The surprising running game is really eating up a lot of time on the clock. As timeout is called by Detroit. Dan Fouts, 20 of 30 for 249 yards. 9 minutes, 58 seconds left to go in our ball game.
Would you believe we started this business in a shed back of my house?
Within our first 6 months, we sold 2 chairs.
The good old.
The San Diego Chargers have a 3-point lead and the ball on the Lion 20-yard line. 2nd and 6. From Jack Murphy Stadium, I'm Jim Hill along with John Dockery. And the Chargers really getting some spirited running this afternoon from Buford McGee, Lionel James, Gerald Thomas, who has scored 2 touchdowns after Earnest Jackson left the ball game early in the first period with an arch injury. Eric Sievers and Lionel James in the backfield for San Diego. A toss back to the little man, and he throws a long pass intended for Kellen Winslow. I think he rushed it just a little bit, John.
Oh, he did. And after the play, he held his helmet saying, oh, he was wide open. I had him. And he just didn't hit him. Winslow probably would have gone in for a touchdown. They took a page out of the book of the Detroit Lions. The Lions did that last week to score. Remember, Billy Sims caught the pass and squirted into the end zone. Here, the Chargers try it. Doesn't work. It's all right. It keeps the defense a little honest, saying, oh, what happened? Next time I better beware when they come on the sweep.
And the defense says, thank goodness he didn't catch it either.
Yes, sometimes better to be lucky than good.
3rd and 6 from the 20. Fouts back to pass, complete to James. Bill Gay in on the tackle. Lionel James, 5'6", 172, and running like he's 6'2", 220.
He sure is. He's having one heck of a game, the rookie out of Auburn. And this is close. But they do call it a 4th down, Jim.
Sievers, Holohan, Buford McGee check back into the lineup for San Diego. Wes Chandler, Bobby Duckworth, and Charlie Joyner come out.
Shows a little confidence in his offense that on 4th down he does not go for the field goal. He's going for the first down.
And the crowd reaction will tell you if they make it or not. And there is a flag on the play. Lionel James, the ball carrier. Tackle made by Gary Cobb. As tempers begin to get a little on edge on the field, as both teams really know they must have this ball game. Both teams have been struggling so far this year. The Lions on defense are just a little frustrated,
number 80,
especially their defensive unit.
First down.
For those of you who have just watched Washington defeat the Philadelphia Eagles 20-0, welcome to Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, California.
Penalty will be accepted. Still 4th down.
I'm Jim Hill, along with John Dockery. The San Diego Chargers leading the Detroit Lions 24-21. The Lions roaring back in the second half with 2 touchdowns, sparked by an 81-yard run by Billy Sims. The penalty on Kellen Winslow, number 80, for holding. So Ralph Bernurst will come in and attempt a field goal. It will be from about 43 yards. And from that distance, Bernurska is a perfect 2 for 2 this year, as Winslow is still complaining on the field that he wasn't holding. And it is good. Ralph Bernurska, a 43-yard field goal to give the Chargers a 6-point lead. It is now 27-21. The Chargers leading the Lions. And for those of you who just watched the New Orleans Saints defeat the Houston Oilers 27-10, welcome to Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, where Ralph Bernurska has just kicked a 43-yard field goal to give the San Diego Chargers a 27-21 lead over the Detroit Lions. And this game, which started out to be a blowout at the end of the first half with the Chargers leading 24-7, has really turned into a scuffle here in the second half. Bernurska set to kick off. Ken Jenkins and Pete Manley to receive. This is Pete Manley. And there's a flag thrown on the play. So Manley gets up to about the 20-yard line, where he's tackled by Buford McGee. Jim Tunney with a preliminary call, holding against Detroit.
Illegal
Here's
block.
the final score. The New Orleans Saints defeating the Houston Oilers 27-10. And for those of you who are watching that game, we hope you remain with us for the rest of this one, and welcome. 9 minutes and 3 seconds left here at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, where the Chargers lead the Detroit Lions 27-21. The Lions have the ball 1st and 10 at their own 10-yard line. Gary Danielson at quarterback. James Jones and Billy Sims in the backfield for Detroit. Play action pass. Complete to Jones. Jones gets away from one tackler. Finally knocked out of bounds by Mike Green.
And Jim, you're right. This has almost been 2 different games. In the first half, San Diego Chargers dominated the Lions. They led 24-7. Second half, third quarter, belonged totally to the Lions as Billy Sims sparked them on the second play of that second half, going 81 yards before taking it in on a 1-yard plunge. And that really has been the spark that has ignited the Lions here in the second half.
And I would think right now that the Charger defense is really going to be on the spot, because Danielson is a great accurate passer. But this time he hands off to Sims. Gary Danielson, 18 of 23 for 247 yards this afternoon.
But it's interesting that the Lion defense, it's been abused and criticized, ridiculed at times, has held the Chargers here in the second half and allowed the Detroit Lions to come back. They held them on that field goal, so now the Lions only trail by 6 points. A touchdown would put them ahead.
Billy Sims, so far this afternoon, 12 carries for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns. 1st and 10 for Detroit at their own 20. Jones in motion, and Danielson is all set to pass. Looks for the screen, complete to Jones. He's got some blockers.
That's the way to finish him off, buddy.
Tackle there made by Woodrow Lowe.
Had Homer Elias, number 61, been able to get to Woodrow Lowe, Jones might have been able to cut back outside and get more yardage. But he wasn't able to do it as Homer dove at Woodrow. Take a look at it here. That's number 51, Woodrow Lowe. He backs off. He thinks it's a pass. They get the screen set up. Jones gets the ball. Now take a look at number 61, Homer Elias. He's in front right there. He dives. He misses Lowe. Lowe comes back in to make the tackle.
Jones, 7 receptions for 47 yards. 2nd and 3. A toss back to Billy Sims. Sims knocked down by Billy Ray Smith. Sims getting across the 30 to about the 31 or 32-yard line.
Sims having an outstanding afternoon, Jim. 121 yards already against a defense that has allowed only a total of 91 yards per game in their first 4 contests. Billy Sims, take a look at it. 12 rushes, 114 yards, 2 touchdowns, short runs, but the big 81-yard burst is really the thing that brought the Lions to life in the second half.
And his recent run was good enough for a first down. 6 minutes and 50 seconds left to go in the ball game. The Lions trail by 6, and they have the ball. Danielson back to pass. Looking for Leonard Thompson. Leonard Thompson tackled by Ken Green. So Leonard Thompson, who told us yesterday, said, hey, I want him to throw the ball to me. Leonard Thompson is a great receiver, and he is one of the men that I would think they would go to in critical situations.
Last week, 3 touchdowns. He had a great week against Minnesota. 7 catches for 98 yards. He's already got 4 here for 79. And Danielson waited till he got in that clearing in the second throwing lane to complete that pass.
The Lions have the ball at their own 48-yard line. 1st and 10. Nichols in motion. There's a flag on the play on the toss back to Sims. Billy Sims knocked out of bounds by Bob Gregory.
Linebackers a little anxious for the San Diego Chargers. Either Billy Ray Smith, 54, or Mike Green, 58, jumping in there looking for the blitz, but they were over the line of scrimmage when the ball was snapped.
That's Jim Tunney you're looking at in the black cap, the referee for today.
Offside defense. Penalty will be accepted. It'll be 5 yards and still first down.
1st and 5 for the Detroit Lions. Once again, they have that explosiveness. They have the people who can really do it. And when you think about the defensive situation that the Chargers are in right now, Monty Clark really should know that, hey, we think that we can throw on these people because they don't have a lot of people in the secondary who are healthy. 5:52 left. Jones in motion. Danielson back to pass. Going deep for Leonard Thompson. Penalty flag as Danny Walters was covering. We were just talking about Leonard Thompson. He's the big play man. And Danny Walters.
Pass interference, defense, number 23.
Danny Walters, the Charger who was called for pass interference on Leonard Thompson.
When Leonard Thompson gets close to you, he can run right by you. Here he has a step or two. Walters tries to make it up. He puts his left arm on Thompson, knocks him down. Thompson, still with great concentration, almost makes the catch anyhow.
We talked about the Charger defense is really going to be put on the spot, and they certainly are. There's a look at the penalty situation. 1st and goal from 8. The pitch back to Sims. Billy Sims rambling down to about the 5-yard line, trying to run over Gil Byrd, who makes the tackle.
David Lewis doing a good job on the lead back. The rookie out of California, number 87, did a good job leading Billy Sims there as he got himself about 3 or 4 yards.
You look at his eyes, and eyes tell you a lot about a man, and Billy Sims has that determined look in his eyes. He has the look in his eyes of, the eye of the tiger. Give me the ball. I want it now.
When the game's on the line, he says, I want it. I'll take it in. I'll take care of things.
Let's see if he can take care of things now. Sims inside the 5-yard line, down to about the 3. Tackle made by Lyndon King.
And had James Jones leading, number 30, been able to get the lead block, Billy Sims might have been able to duck inside and go back outside, but Sims, that great quickness, when he makes a decision, he flies, and that's why he got what he got on that particular play.
So it'll be the 3rd and goal from the 3-yard line. The Lions this afternoon, 4 of 8 on 3rd down conversions. Here's Leonard Thompson going in, but there's a flag on the play. Billy Sims was in motion. A reverse to Leonard Thompson, who took it in for the score, but as you can clearly see, Billy Sims was in motion.
Illegal motion, number 30, 5 yards, still third down.
They call it on James Jones.
It certainly did look like Billy Sims. Both backs rather casual in their fake, and it negates a touchdown. And now it's 3rd and goal, and you have to think they'll throw the ball, possibly a rollout by Gary Danielson.
4 minutes and 12 seconds left to go in the ball game.
Jeff Chadwick is his favorite receiver. He says, if he's in the slot and he's open, I'm going to get the ball to number 89.
Danielson in shotgun formation. Throws to the end zone. Penalty flag down. James Jones catches a touchdown pass.
Penalty flag.
And obviously the roar of the crowd tells you that it is against the Detroit Lions.
And the Lion offense right now is self-destructing. Twice they've gotten touchdowns. Twice penalties have negated touchdowns.
Pass interference, offense, 10 yards, still third down.
Remember when we talked to Monty Clark yesterday, he was telling us that they've been in all of their ball games. They've lost 3 ball games by a total of 8 points. And here's another situation where they had an opportunity to get in, score, take the lead if they could get the extra point conversion. But it's that one play, a miscue by someone, a penalty here, a penalty there, that has stopped them from scoring twice.
Mistakes will do it to it. It'll short-circuit an offense that has been really on fire here in the second half.
3rd and goal from the 18-yard line. And the Lions are denied again. For those of you who just finished watching, the San Francisco 49ers defeat the Atlanta Falcons 14-5. Welcome to Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego, while the Chargers lead the Detroit Lions 27-21. I'm Jim Hill along with John Dockery. Eddie Murray in to attempt a 44-yard field goal. And it is good. So the Detroit Lions, who missed an opportunity to score 2 touchdowns, are ready to score a touchdown on 2 penalties, draw to within 3 points on a field goal by Eddie Murray with 3:56 left. Don't go away.
The insulation is ready.
Eddie Murray, who just kicked a 44-yard field goal to bring the Detroit Lions to within 3, is all set to kick off for the Lions. Lionel James and Buford McGee set to receive for the San Diego Chargers. This ball will go into and out of the end zone, come out to the 20-yard line. That's where the Chargers will take over 1st and 10. Tonight on CBS, following football, except on the West Coast, all new 60 Minutes.
Oh, I wonder if 60 Minutes can be as exciting as this football game we have going for us right here. 27-24, there's time left, there's timeouts left. The Lions can get the ball back. We'll see what Dan Fouts can do.
And there are 3 minutes and 51 seconds left here. The Chargers leading by 3. It's Holohan in motion. And Fouts is back to pass. Complete to Pete Holohan, the man in motion. Holohan and Charlie Joyner almost running into each other. Tackle made by Gary Cobb and Ken Fantetti.
What a second half this Lion defense has played. They've held the Charger offense, an offense that's averaging 30 points a game, to a mere 3 points.
That play good enough for the first down. 1st and 10 for San Diego at their own 35-yard line. Dan Fouts, who's had another marvelous afternoon passer. Quarterback for San Diego. Here's the handoff to McGee. Tackle made by Curtis Green. So for another NFL update report, let's go to New York. Once again, Brent Musburger.
Jim, the Bucks and the Packers are tied at 20. Lynn Dickey to pull out. Watch number 76, the fine middle guard of the Buccaneers. Dave Logan with the interception. And now Tampa Bay leads 27-20. Let's go back to Jim.
Thank you very much, Brent. That is really a lineman's dream, isn't it?
Oh, isn't it? And Tampa Bay coming on. I mean, everyone thought they might be the worst team in football. If they win today, they'll be 2-3. Of course, Green Bay having their problems.
Looks like an injury here to Buford McGee.
Chargers can hardly afford another injury to a running back. Earnest Jackson still on the sidelines after bruising his instep in the first quarter. And, of course, that, with Muncie gone and Johnson gone, they're very thin at running back for the San Diego Chargers. Looks like his arm. They're holding his arm there. His wrist may have gotten sprained.
McGee this afternoon, 17 carries for 42 yards and 1 touchdown.
You know, talking to Dan Fouts, Fouts reminds me of a quarterback that I played with, Joe Namath. To me, a quarterback has to have a certain amount of arrogance, of that feeling of confidence. And I said to Fouts yesterday, you know, I sense that you enjoy being in the eye of the storm. And he said, well, that's the calmest spot, if you allow it to be. He's a man that has it under control.
That's right. I don't blame him for being arrogant from time to time. When you're standing back there with your ribs exposed, take a shot like that, or like he has taken from time to time. But this afternoon, his offensive line has done a good job. 2:59 left to go in the ball game. Fouts back to pass again. Flag down, intended for Kellen Winslow. Covered there by Bruce McNarton. But there is a flag. There's a flag on the penalty. Flag on the play, I should say. And in that particular instance, it looks like it's going to be holding against San Diego.
And you mentioned Fouts taking a shot. Both Gay and Green were in on him. He was exposed at the ribs. He threw the ball up, but he was hit just as he was throwing it. It was incomplete. But look at him. He's got that little smile on his face, like saying, don't worry about it. We have this under control. I don't mind the pressure.
Holding, 62, decline. 3rd down.
Don Masick, the center for the Chargers. Penalties this afternoon. San Diego penalized 9 times for 122 yards. Detroit 13 times for 137 yards. 3rd down conversions for San Diego, 7 of 11. Here's Fouts set to pass again. Going for West Chandler. Penalty flag with Bruce, or rather Bobby Watkins, on the coverage.
Bobby Watkins is probably their best defensive back. He has pure speed, real speed.
Interference, defense 27, 1st down.
To run with the West Chandlers. That time he just got turned around, had no idea where the ball was, and he just ran into Chandler. Watch, you're playing a little more aggressive defense, man-to-man. He gets the 1 bump that you're allowed. Chandler gives him a little stop and go. Doesn't see the ball as Chandler's trying to come back there by a penalty. And look at him put his hands up. I didn't do it. I didn't touch him. But he did.
And the flag was thrown. 2:47 left to go in the ball game. 1st and 10 for San Diego at the Lion 40-yard line. Here's the handoff to Lionel James. Gary Cobb in on the tackle for Detroit. Also Ken Fantetti.
You know, time gets a little critical at this point when there's 2 minutes and 30 seconds left in a game. Okay, you're trailing by 6 points. The Lions need the ball back. They got to keep the San Diego Chargers off the board so that they can still win this game with a touchdown. They're down by 3 points. I mean, so They'd like to keep him out of the end zone. Even a field goal would allow them to score and to go on and win this game.
But this is one of the things that the Chargers staff was telling us that they really wanted to do today. Everyone knows that they can pass, but they said in critical situations, we want to run the ball. We want to try and fool people if we can. So there's a timeout on the field. 2nd and 7 for San Diego. They have the ball at the Detroit Lion 37-yard line. 2 minutes, 29 seconds to go. The Chargers leading the Lions 27-24.
And you look at that graphic, they lost their last 3 games by a total of 8 points. Their last 6 games, when you go back to last season, by a total of about 15 points. So the Lions have been having bad luck, but they brought it on themselves. Monty Clark is trying to keep things calm. He doesn't want to panic. He wants that professional calm to pervade his team and allow him to come back and win close, tight games like they're in right now. They trail by 3 points with 2:30 left in this game, 2:29.
But it's going to be left up to his defense right now. But when he looks across the field and he sees the meetings of the minds there with the Dan Fouts, he just knows that his defense has to come up with a marvelous effort in order to hold him. Scores in the 4th quarter. The Rams leading the Giants 33-6. Tampa Bay over Green Bay 27-20. New Orleans over Houston, a final 27-10. San Francisco, a final 14-5 over Atlanta. 2nd and 7 for the Chargers. The draw play. Lionel James. With Demetrius Johnson in on the tackle. Excuse me, John, I'm saying this is what the Chargers want to do.
Lionel James, the rookie out of Auburn, all 5'6", 162 pounds of him, 172 pounds, lays a lick on Demetrius Johnson, number 21. Watch the end of this play. Right here, bang! Hits him and knocks him back for those extra couple of yards. That low center of gravity, like a bowling ball when he hits you as a defensive back.
And with that play, the 2-minute warning has been given on the field. You folks at home, don't go away. We've got an exciting finish coming up with the Lions trailing the San Diego Chargers by 3. Tonight on CBS, the all-new 60 Minutes, a special 2-hour premiere, Murder, She Wrote, and the season premiere, Trapper John, M.D. The roar of the crowd, the San Diego fans approving the score that they see on the scoreboard, as it has just been announced that Denver has defeated the Los Angeles Raiders 16-13.
And the Lions face Denver next week. Tough opponent for them.
1st and 10 for the Chargers. And off to Lionel James. Little Train, they call him. Tackled by Jimmy Williams. I would imagine this young man's going to be pretty sore tomorrow. All this running he's been doing up into the middle of that defensive line of the Detroit Lions.
And Winslow looking at him, he's getting in it again. People have said Winslow's a crybaby. He's always complaining. He gets angry when he hears that.
Well, when you're at the top of your profession, as Kellen Winslow is, people will always pick on you and try and get away with all kinds of things.
And look at that clock running down. The Lions need that ball back. They're down by 3. They got to get it back in a hurry. Be interesting to see if the Chargers just keep it on the ground to run it out. Timeouts left. Detroit has none, and that's the problem.
2nd and 12. Fouts takes a snap and goes back and goes down on one knee. So the Lions don't have any more timeouts. And the Chargers are going to be content into trying to let this clock run out, probably running off one more play. So the San Diego Chargers use a surprising running game with some surprising names. Buford, McGee, Lionel James, Gerald Thomas. Third and 14. Fouts again. Take the snap. Backpedals down and goes down on one knee.
And Jim, I know it's a good bounce back to Don Coryell and the Chargers after a tough loss to the Raiders. They'll now be 3-2. But for Monty Clark, another close loss. He's now 1-4 with Denver after a big win over the Raiders. A tough opponent next week.
You're looking at the clock run out. And what ended up being a very, very exciting football game. The gun goes off. Don Coryell, a sigh of relief. Dan Fouts, another excellent afternoon for him. And another frustrating afternoon for that man right there. The final score. San Diego 24. Detroit, or rather San Diego 27, Detroit 24. Coming up next, the NFL Today wrap-up show with Brent Musburger. All that coming up right here on CBS.